O Show. This is the Big 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 O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Ware at Miami Fanware in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Ware, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, folks. Welcome aboard to the show. Hope all is well. Hope it's all sounding well, and we're off and running here on a beautiful Tuesday. Hope you're doing well and you're having a great Tuesday. Hopefully you have a great week, as it's a Super Bowl week. I love it. We are approaching the big game on Sunday. I love it. We get our last taste of real NFL football, and then takes over the NFL business for the offseason. And as you all know, we follow the NFL business in a big time way. We started last week with the Senior Bowl. Next month, we'll be at the Combine. So a lot of things, man. Looking forward to a bunch of stuff here to cover over the next couple of weeks. We got Sean Stanley, of course, the man that masters this platform every single day. Got a let's see, we got a ton on the list. Obviously, congratulations to the University of Miami basketball team. They got it done. The Panthers, nice ass kicking of the Lightning. Kachuk has been just so awesome. I wish the rest of the team would be at Kachuk's level. You know, it's would be nice. You trade for a superstar, but the rest of your team takes a step back. That's kind of really screwed up. Really, it's kind of twisted how that ends up working out. It's just one that I have a hard time understanding. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Heat are off tonight. Wednesday, they will take on the Pacers. So we talked yesterday a lot about the trade deadline. I gave you my thoughts on trading Jimmy Butler. And if you didn't hear them, you may want to go look for the specific rant there. And I broke it down for you. Basically, you know, the Miami Dolphins missed out on the trade X train, and now they've got an opportunity. We'll see what happens. I doubt they'll do it because, you know, it's only makes sense, but what the hell, you know, I don't know if I wonder if the fan, you know, let me give another twist to all of this. Okay, most of the fan base doesn't look at this team as a championship caliber team, right? How mad could you be at the Heat if they unload Lowry and, of course, and Duncan? I mean, and Butler, and they get, picks in return and things like that. Maybe a young player, I don't know. But could people be that mad if you turn the corner? Yeah, that's the part that I find kind of interesting. Would they be? I don't know. Would you guys be that mad if they traded Butler, knowing what's left over the next 3 years and the salary cap space that it's going to take? Like right now, all the people that are on the chat board right now, he's got over $160 million in salary over the next 3 years. Would you really be mad if the Heat turned the page towards the future? I'm wondering because you know what? I'm going to put a poll question out for that. You know why? Because if you know where they have really no top end championship caliber type of, and I know some of you are going to say, well, they were one shot away. And I get the overachieving stuff, dude. I totally understand that. But did you really think they were going to win the championship, even if they got there? So isn't it about winning a championship? So if you're not really winning a championship, is it all right to just clean the Esta sketch and start all over again? You know what I'm saying? Right? Clean the slate, as they say. Start over, press reset. Well, what do you want me to do? I don't know. What line do you want me to use? Would the Heat Nation be that mad that they traded Butler right now for your one entertainment for this postseason, but the long-term pain that could happen over the next 3 years with his body wearing down and everything else? Are you that that's a good way to put up a poll to find out how short-sighted the viewpoint is for some fans and how many can actually see through the trees and look ahead. I think that's the important part about all of this. And I'm wondering, those of you that are on the chat board, would you be mad? Do you think it's the right thing to do? Move ahead, trade the pieces now. You watch the Lowry thing. Why do you want that to happen to you? It's already happening to Jimmy Butler. He can't play most of the games. He misses half of the games practically. What do you think is going to happen over the next 3 years? So that's it's kind of interesting. Now that I think about it, I wonder how disturbed the fans would be, or how many of them would say, you know what, it kind of hurts that we lost Butler, but I understand. And that's the way I would look at it, because I do like Jimmy Butler. I love his style and all that, but you gotta know when to get off the gravy train, dude. You got to know before the wheels come off. It's interesting. Well, we'll put up whenever I take a break, I'll put up that poll question, and we'll see the response of it. No, because I have faith that he can rebuild. How do you rebuild when you have all those salaries in place? Santos, do you understand the business? You're stuck with a bunch of salaries. Freeing up even just Lowry is not enough to get you a stud anymore. They pay them even more than what Lowry's getting. I don't know, dude. I don't know about the rebuilding thing. You can't rebuild without picks. You can't rebuild without space. And this team needs to unload space in Butler, Lowry, and Duncan, actually. It's a lot of cap space you eliminate. That's nearly $100 million. You guys know that? That's 2 studs. Just saying. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, so we'll get to talk about. We got some NFL, I got some really interesting NFL things that are going on in the league to talk about. And kind of shake the trees and give you several points of views on that. Jay says trade Butler and Lowry to better the team. Absolutely. I mean, that's the long point of view, man. It's kind of what I talk about in crypto all the time. When you're just worried about what I always tell you, right? You worry about the micro, No, you worry about macro. You zone out. You don't zone in, you zone out. And then you can actually see the big picture of it all. Mike Dizzle, thank you for the love on the super chat, my man. By the way, today's the best I have felt since pre-hot dog. Random music question. Have you ever seen Sade live? Her voice is golden. I know that's not usually your genre, but you know good music. Just asking. I saw Sade once. She is a goddess. I love Sade. I've always loved Sade. I have practically every CD of Sade. So I'm deep, man, when it comes to music. I love all kinds of music. Am I a rock and metal head at the heart and soul of my core? Yeah, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Give me some Iron Maiden and some Van Halen any time of the year and twice on Sundays, and I'm ready to jam some Rush and some STP and some Greta Van Fleet and you name it, the Rival Sons and all kinds of stuff. Blackberry Smoke, although that's more Southern rock, new Southern rock. But I'm into all kinds. I'm into great music. I'm into musicians. That's what I'm in. I'm into artists, people that actually have talent. I'm not as big. No, not as big. I don't like some guy or woman that has to hide behind what's that voice thing that they do nowadays. That kind of shit. No, dude. I have that. You have no skill there. You know what I'm saying? And all that shit sounds the same to me. I need real skill and talent, you know? So it's like new bands. I need to see the musicians. I don't want to see some freaking computer, it's just different. And the rap nowadays, the mumble rap that they have nowadays, I like real rap. Nas is real rap. Yeah, what's it called? Um, Snoop, whatever, Biggie, you name it. There are guys that produce real music. You know what I mean? These fools that hide, what is it? Auto tunes. That's it. They all sound the same. There's no real identity behind it. So yeah, I'm into great music and musicians and people that are actually putting, that's one of the things that the Beastie Boys get that people don't really even understand. Like they played instruments, like they actually created the music. You know what I mean? So that to me, these kind of things matter. So it's not really the type of music. I appreciate the hell out of Adele. I'll go to an Adele concert every day of the week and twice on Sundays because the woman's got a voice. She's a goddess. You know what I'm saying? And so there are a lot of new artists that I do like, and then there's all these cheesy ass artists that are just cookie cutter crap that record companies are creating. And so and again, that's because you got a generation of kids that love mumble rap and love, crap pop music and stuff. And that's always kind of been around, you know what I mean? It's always been around to a certain extent. So it's nothing really new to have, um, rap style, American pop style, menudo, that kind of stuff. So as long as it's real talent behind it, that you see the artist behind it, uh, what's this kid's name that can dance and sing and play instruments and Locked Out of Heaven, man, with Bruno Mars. That's freaking talent, bro. That's superior talent right there. That's what I'm into. That's what I appreciate. Okay? I appreciate real lyricists. I appreciate real music. I appreciate musicians. I appreciate real voices. Okay? That's what I appreciate. When I listen to metal, I don't listen to screaming metal. Thrash metal, all that. I've never been that guy. I always say, if I'm going to listen to something really hard like Anthrax, I need to be Joey Belladonna singing. I hate that shit. That's not singing. That's screaming. Now, some of you like that shit. That's fine. That's up to you. Some of you like that auto-tune bullshit. That's up to you, man. That's fine. That's not music to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I kind of look at it. You got to show me real skills before I actually am going to like you as an artist or a band. And when you talk about Sade, you are talking about just an absolute goddess. Okay? Yeah, she is phenomenal, dude. Love Sade. So, yes. Thank you, Mike Dizzle. Appreciate you with the question. John Santos says, I mean, no, I don't mind getting rid. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for the love on the super chat also, John. Very nice of you. Terry says, Big O, would you trade Jimmy and Kyle Lowry for Kevin Durant? Terry, let me ask you something. What makes you ask a freaking stupid ass question like that? Just let me ask, like, how high do you think Sean Marks is over at Brooklyn? Do you think he's like, yeah, I'll do that trade. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Pookie, you want to hit? Come on, bro. What's wrong with you? Seriously. You think Sean Marks is hanging out in the Carter? In the Enterprise? You know, some of you, it's like, some of you should be blocked just for freaking stupidity. No, I'd trade you, actually, for Kevin Durant. I'd trade you to not send in another question ever again on the show. That's what I would do, Terry.
Save your brain cells. Stupid chat. Stupid chat. Stupid chat.
Big O, you remember Striper? Seeing them in Denver in May. I know who Striper is. They're all right. They're all right. Weren't they like a religious rock band early days or something like that? Weren't they something like that? Anyway, but yeah, I know Striper. They're all right. Heard Harry. Harry Styles actually has got some skills, bro. So yeah, he's good. He's good. I'm not telling you that I'm this big Harry Styles guy, but I'm not going to crap on his talent. He actually has talent. Gotta say. I saw Sade live at the Panthers Arena. What a show. She's amazing, bro. She is so awesome. Jamie Zorria, good morning, Big O and Sean and Finn's Nation from San Jose, California. I had to leave late for work, so I'm about to get stuck in traffic. San Jose is bad as San Francisco? I don't, pure ignorance. I have no idea. Just asking. Let's see. Pat in Asheville says, Wolf Alice is one of my best alt rock bands out there right now. Trust me on this. Listen to them like a time portal back to the 90s, especially their first two albums. Wolf Alice. I listen to Wolf Mother. Wolf Alice. Never heard of Wolf Alice. Oh, by the way, Sean, I forgot. Send Cam and Manny invites. Wolf Alice. Okay. I'll look it up. I've never heard of Wolf Alice. Thank you. It's always worth exploring new music. System of a Down is solid. Yeah, they're all right. I like them. Let's see. Big O, there's traffic everywhere in California. I lived in San Francisco, dude. I live in Tiburon. So I'm not sure about San Jose if it's as bad as, because San Fran is really bad, and then LA is the worst I've ever seen. Actually, LA and then Atlanta. Then I'll go with us. But I don't remember San Jose because I visited it a couple times to go see the Clash. Not the band The Clash, the San Jose Clash, which was early days of MLS. So yeah, that's the deal there. Mid-90s. Big O, have you seen Brandon Jones' video of his update on his injury? Dude is coming along fast. I'm telling you, he seriously could be an all-pro next year, and I'm not kidding. Dude has skills. Well, Kevin Beal, the thing is, does he fit the new scheme? And that's going to be a challenge because it's more coverage. Sean, can you do me a favor when you get a chance? I don't know if you can do it sometime during the show. During our interview with Ben Allwright, he explains Fangio's defense, and it's one that actually will be, I think it'll be enlightening if you can find that piece where he explains the defense, and it's an area that Brandon was improving in last year. He has to excel in it in this defense, and if Sean can find that exchange of him explaining what kind of a defense Fangio has, I'm going to replay it for you so you can see it whenever he can corral that thing. Corey Foster says, Big O from Toronto, Canada, you think the Maple Leafs can win it all this year? I have no idea, bro. I'm not a hockey expert. So I don't watch the league enough to tell you that. I'm not smart enough, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I'd be lying to you, and I'm not a bullshitter. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I saw the Nets lose last night with Kevin Durant, and he didn't play. You know what I mean? So I would just rather tell you, I don't know. I'm not, oh, let me act like I'm the smart guy. I know every sport and every team and all that. No, I don't. The Panthers have not forced me. It's the Panthers' fault. Nobody else. Until the Panthers become a perennial playoff team that can actually threaten the league, okay? Not, every once in a while show up and all that. It doesn't force me as a South Florida fan to know the rest of the league. And I'm sorry about that. And, you said from Toronto, Canada. You're born and raised with hockey in your blood. For me, brother, it's football, basketball. That's what's in my blood. You know what I'm saying? A little baseball too, some hockey, some soccer, but the thing that drives me more is football and basketball. Those are my favorite sports, overall. So hockey is one of those where, in order for me to get to know the rest of the league, I need the Panthers to be players. And if they're not players, then I don't bother to get to know the rest of the league until Inter Miami becomes players in the playoffs and, threatening. I'm not going to really take the time to watch other teams in the MLS and learn about them. And as time has gone on, got to be honest, I also know less and less about baseball nationally because my Marlins mean nothing in the big picture. So it's hard for me to get excited about a league when my favorite team has no chance in representing my colors. And it's kind of depressing. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way I look at it. And it's I'd love to tell you that I can change and all that, but that's just the way things are, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And so the way you think about hockey is the way I think about football. Football for me is living, eating, and breathing football the entire time. 24/7, 365 a year. Anybody that knows that has followed this show, I can have football conversations forever. But yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Corey. So, I wonder if some of you think the same way, or maybe you didn't think about it this way, but now you realize, shit, that's what happens to me too. And, it just, my local team isn't that good, so it doesn't turn me on to follow the rest of the league nearly as much, Yes, I am an Avenged Sevenfold guy. Saw him last time open up for Metallica. We were in the pit. Unfortunately, he had vocal issues that day. But Avenged Sevenfold is very good. Saw him also at Rockville. I like Avenged Sevenfold. So yeah. London Calling from the Real Clash is a great, yeah, of course. Orange County is the worst. San Fran is bad. San Jose has gotten bad over the last 15 years. Okay. Well, when I lived in San Francisco, Jamie, it was late 70s. It was in 19 it was in I'm in late 90s. It was 1996 to 97. Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you. Um let's see, what else do we have? Hell of a win for the Panthers last night. Two back-to-back Bruins and Lightning. Yes. Big O, as a Canadian, I can cover for you. The Leafs will not win it all this year. They're not built to even win a round in the playoffs, sadly. Well, there you go. I'll go with Brett Dodger on this one. I'll say that Brett Dodger has a better opinion of it than I do. I'll say Brett has a more educated opinion than I do. Okay. I'm just going to tell you how I feel, man. It's just who I am. Big O, you a big Bush fan and Gavin Rossdale. Yeah, I love Bush. Yeah, I do. Many ways, by the way. Although, I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I like Bush. It's not the beer, by the way, but everything else, yes. Bush Racing, right? Although it's no longer the Bush series, right? What's it called now, Sean? Mr. Racing expert. I forgot what it's called now, but I don't think it's called the Bush series now, right? That's funny that you mentioned the Beastie Boys. They were thrash metal before they came out with License to Ill. Big O, did you see what? Yeah, and I'm glad they changed to rap because they weren't going to survive as a thrash metal band. Oh yeah, I saw what they did to the Panther mascot, but that was kind of a setup, right? I would imagine, right? Because if not, then that's assault. All right, so there you go. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show at Cash App or Venmo. Anyway. It's funny, by the way. beat Duke last night, 81-59, kicked their ass. They're 19-5, 10-4 in the Big East. Omir had 17 points and 10 rebounds, and Jordan Miller had a hell of a game, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. I actually watched some of it because there really wasn't anything else to watch on the pro side. The Panthers were actually kicking, Lightning's ass, so I switched over and I put the Canes game. The funny part is apparently they listened to the show. Right? Because Canes Hoop used to follow me, right? But because I've said, I'm not really that impressed with college basketball in today's world, they unfollowed me. Oh, that is so funny. I saw it yesterday. I was like, okay, you guys got butthurt on this? Like, I guess it gets around. You know what I mean? Because, it's like, all right, whatever, it is what it is. That's fine. I'll still root for you guys just because I'm not impressed with college basketball and men's college basketball in today's world. I'm sorry for being honest. I'm sorry for experiencing the 80s and the 90s, but I thought it was hilarious that they unfollowed me. Clearly, they were butthurt. All right, you got it. Let's go. Fire it away. Here is my man talking a little bit about the Fangio defense, okay? And the style of defense that he runs, okay? Ben Albright obviously has been covering the Broncos for a long time. Really good insider overall. Let's hear from Ben how he explains it.
I would say about Vic's defense that it takes some getting used to is it is not aggressive at all. It's actually the opposite of that. Vic's defense tries to generate turnovers, but it's light in the box. It dares you to run and puts you in third and longs, and it's a bend, don't break. They're trying to turn you over. So when it's a great defense. It'll put up great numbers. But if you absolutely need a stop at the end of a game, it's tough to get with that style of defense.
Okay. All right. If
Oh, I'm not hearing you, Will.
Okay, I'm sorry. It would help if I turn on the mic. I'm sorry. My bad, Sean. I'm an idiot here. So, this morning, I was running a little late, so I went over and I went to Chick-fil-A to go get my biscuit. I hadn't had my chicken biscuit in several days because you know what happened. And so the stomach was ready, I think, and feeling really good and all that. So as I'm going to Chick-fil-A, I have Joe Rose on. Okay, love Joe, does an excellent job, talking sports. But he has this fool on all the time, Mark Ross. Right? It's the same guy that said Tua can't play. If any of you, if they have that interview posted, I'll help Joe to get a couple more hits on that one. Go listen to it. He describes Fangio's defense as an attack style defense. You just heard Ben Albright tell you that's not what it is. It just shows you that a guy that was a former executive doesn't know shit. Doesn't know jack shit. Guy said Tua can't play. He was wrong. Now he says Denver's got a attack style defense under Fangio. Wrong. I mean, do I have to play the cut again from Ben Albright? I mean, it's just it's hilarious, dude. It's hilarious the amount of FUD that's out there in all walks of life. Business, politics, news, sports. Lazy people like Mark Ross that really don't watch it, just talk shit about it. Lazy people like, Cal Turd that tells you, well, I watched the Nets and Durant lose last night. And, Durant didn't even play. So clearly you didn't watch it. You're just going off your producers. Be very careful. Okay. I tell you guys all the time, we actually work here. We actually create real sports talk to make you think. But we try to also be as accurate as possible. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be perfect. We're going to get things wrong. But if we don't know something, I'm going to tell you, I don't know it. I'm not going to tell you and bullshit you through it. And so it's funny because when I was going to get the biscuit this morning, I caught that dude and I was laughing my ass off because Ben Albright had a different conversation. Then when one of you brought it up, it triggered. I go, oh man, I can bring this up from the morning. It's too funny, dude. Too funny. So there you go. It just shows you that some of these people really lack zero credibility and have no, but they're on the air and, it is what it is. Let's see. We are waiting Cameron Wolfe here. We'll see if we get Cam soon. Knight, thank you for the love on the super chat. Fangio's defense contain and create mistakes. No, not according to Mark Ross. It's an attacking defense. Oh, and by the way, he also said Tua can't play. Okay. So just like all the typical Tua can't play guys or girls, now they'll lean on the injuries thing. It's all right. I got you, bro. I got your game. I got all your games out there, and I crush every single one of them and expose them every single time. It's all good. It's all good. That shit ain't going to get away from, this show here. Lazy ass radio is what you hear and see all the time. And when I was listening to Joe this morning, you have Mark Ross on. That's lazy radio with a lazy person as an analyst. I personally wouldn't even have the guy on after that. But then again, they had him on after he said Tua can't play. But then again, others on the show were saying Tua can't play. So they were all in the same boat. What can I tell you? But if you have a guy that says Tua can't play and then he says Fangio's an attacking style defense, that guy does not deserve to be on the air. Maybe that's why they fired him. Maybe that year that the Giants won and those picks all hit, the dude probably got lucky. And probably they gave him too much credit, and inside they knew that they gave him too much credit. Plus, I heard there was a scouting director in there for the Giants that was actually really, really good and really highly respected. I'm forgetting his name now. I'm told he's the guy that really hits a lot in the picks for the Giants. I'm trying to remember his damn name. But back in the day, that guy, I don't think he's there anymore. But he's the guy, not the guy that doesn't know what the Denver defense is like. Our defense did better playing the aggressive type of defense. Well, Fangio, Magic Mark, dude. Okay, look, brother, football has all kinds of styles and schemes. And this year, it didn't work, my brother, because they didn't have the secondary. Without the secondary, you can't attack the same way. So that's why they didn't have the same numbers. So one thing affected the other, whether anybody wants to, think about it or not, or admit it or not. That's the reality. Okay? It hurt. So you're going to have to change personnel now. And believe it or not, what Josh Boyer was adjusting to is closer to what Fangio wants to do. So he's going to have to now adjust the talent on the defense, because the style that Flores and Boyer wanted to play, Boyer could not play it last year because of the injuries. That's not Fangio's style. So now things will change. Okay? That's why I was explaining to you that listening to that guy, Mark Ross, he got it completely wrong when he's calling Fangio's defense an attacking style defense when it's not. So it's the opposite of that, actually. They bend but don't break, and that's kind of what they've done. That's why I brought Ben Albright on, a guy that covered it every single day and can tell you exactly what they do. You know what I'm saying? So now the defensive scheme changes. And these are the questions. Like, here's one that'll drive your ass crazy. Are you ready? Noah Igbenogany may be better for this situation. Who knows? I have no idea. I don't think so, because you still got to read and react. And he's kind of had trouble with that anyways, from double moves and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. But I'm just saying, and now Brandon Jones, his cover skills were getting better last year. His cover skills need to be superior now if you're going to play in Fangio's defense, because your safeties have to be able to cover and support. So things change now when you change a coordinator. All right, it is time to unleash the Wolf Pack.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSdt CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolfe. KSdt is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSdt CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at KSDTCPA.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolfe.
All right. All right, you were, good morning, sir, first of all.
Good morning.
You were listening there on deck. Things are going to change now.
Yeah.
And defensive scheme is going to change, and I think we got to prepare the Dolphin Nation that names are going to change.
Yeah, a new style of defense. Like, the difference between Flores and Boyer is smaller than it is with Boyer to Fangio. And so, yeah, there's going to be styles of players, scheme styles, preferences of players that completely change with the new scheme. Your core players will stay the same. You'll still have your Jalen Phillips, your Bradley Chubb,
your front line,
your Christian Wilkins, but maybe some of the other guys that were maybe
linebackers,
players,
maybe one of the safeties, corners,
different things like that. Those are elements that could potentially change with this offense. I think I mentioned it to you before, but like in a Fangio offense, the most important positions, particular to compared to other defenses, are the safety position and the nose tackle position, which a lot of times you look at defenses, like particularly when you talk about the Flores / Boyer defenses, they love cornerbacks. You gave that top money to Xavier Howard and Byron Jones because it was a man-heavy concept. You enjoyed guys who could play man coverage at your corner and safety positions, and then guys who could blitz. This defense is going to be heavy zone. A lot of cover 3 defenses. So you're going to need your 2 safeties. They play a lot of deep safeties, too deep. And so those guys are going to be super important. And then they try to control the run game by having a big nose tackle who can control that element and then have their linebackers fill. Not saying the rest of the positions aren't important, but that's where they're going to start. You already had that guy in Javon Holland, who's the second guy, which is why I mentioned to you before. I know it may catch a couple people's eyes, but it would not surprise me now that Fangio, is going to be the guy if they go out and try to get another safety. If they go out and sign or draft another safety and have him be that other guy next to Javon Holland and maybe Brandon Jones in a third safety role. They're going to have an interesting question of how they feel about Raekwon Davis. Raekwon Davis.
That was my question.
Exactly.
Can Fangio fix Raekwon Davis? And let's be honest now, he needs to be fixed.
Right.
He has not lived up to his draft status. He's way too freaking inconsistent. Does not make enough plays. He is overshadowed by Sealer, by Wilkins, by Phillips, by everyone else that's on the D line with him. He does not carry his weight. And what you just mentioned, nose tackle is really important.
Yep.
Well, I would not even tag him. I would let him play out the fourth year and earn it, because unfortunately he has not earned the risk of guaranteeing money the next year. And I would hope that Fangio fixes him, because somebody's got to light a fire under his ass, because he's got a ton of talent.
Yeah, he's big, right? And that was what intrigued a lot of people. But he's 6'7", 330, but it doesn't always play that way. And it's tough because a nose tackle, a lot of times your job doesn't show up in the stat sheet. But still, you can show an impact based on how you affect the game. And I think inconsistent is the right word, because we've seen splashes of Raekwon Davis, but it hasn't consistently been that type of player. And if you remember,
he's a poor man's Daryl Gardner. And Daryl Gardner did not have his motor on all the time. But when Daryl Gardner had his motor on, holy shit, you knew exactly when his motor was on.
Right.
Raekwon Davis doesn't have his motor on a third of the time that Daryl Gardner had his on half the time.
Right.
So that's where I would label him a poor man's Daryl Gardner. Daryl also did not bring it in every down, but when he brought it, holy moly. I mean, it was caving the line. It was disrupting everything because he had that ability. I haven't even seen Daryl Gardner effort, and that wasn't good enough on a consistent basis to keep him long-term. It was just a short window that he did it in, and then they got rid of him after that. To me, that's what he's got to cross.
Excuse me. And it's tough because Raekwon's going into his fourth season. I think you mentioned it earlier, but like this, he's not a first-round pick, so this is the last year of his deal, of a 4-year deal. But that being said, you got to start thinking, is he a part of our future? You can clearly say, guys like Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, because of how they paid him, and Christian Wilkins are part of their future. Raekwon, there's a big question there. And so I think that you're going to see a situation where they're going to bring in some competition for him, whether it be a draft pick or whether most likely it's a veteran, and say, hey, you're going to have to compete for this spot. This is not a given job. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Because you got to remember, this is a Brian Flores. Chris Greer was a part of this. Brian Flores was really pushing for this Raekwon Davis pick. It's a guy he loved. And he actually looked pretty good his rookie year. But since then, he has not seen a big step. And so those are the two positions I would start the offseason for. Are they going to upgrade that nose tackle position? What do they do with the second safeties position? And then everything else, to me, will fill in once those two things are figured out. And yeah, like you said at the top, don't expect this team to be heavy man, heavy blitz. I think they'll still blitz some. Fangio's defense blitz some, but not nearly as much as the Dolphins did. And they'll play a lot more zone coverage.
Somebody tell Mark Ross that, by the way. He thinks it's an aggressive style defense. It's an attacking defense. Somebody tell him that. Anyway, so how active do you expect them to be within their roster? We know Byron Jones's history done probably in June, right? Is that what you think? The June cut is more realistic?
It'll be interesting because you can cut a guy and designate him as a June 1 cut if you wanted to do that. Like if you want to say, hey, this guy's going to be a June 1 cut, you can designate him there and get him off the books early if you want to do him a favor so he could test the market. I'm not sure how they feel about that. but I do anticipate. I don't think he has any trade value at all. So I do anticipate that they move on from him, they trade him, unless he's willing to take a huge pay cut, which I don't anticipate him doing. I think that they
He didn't
release him.
take this year off to take
Yeah,
a pay cut, bro.
yeah,
He
yeah.
took this year off to be healthy and try to work out for somebody and try to get the max money. Although I still think this whole year holding out and the late surgery and all that is going to be a bad look wherever he goes. That's not. I don't think he'll get the money that he's thinking he's going to get only because of that. And you've been out for a year, so people will be a little concerned about that. Where else
Now,
do you expect him to make changes?
real briefly on Byron Jones, what was interesting to me, and we could talk about Brian Flores if you want at the end getting the Vikings job, but
Yeah.
when I looked at that roster, um, they were 30, they were 30th or worse in pass defense, total defense, and scoring defense. One of the big deficiencies on their defense is cornerback. And so I started to pick their pieces. Don't be surprised if Flores starts going after some people he had here. And so Byron Jones may be a guy at a
Hunter Long?
Huh?
Hunter Long?
If Hunter Long's released, but I'm just thinking, like I know we're making fun of the situation, but I'm serious. Like
Noah Monogamy?
if he comes back on like a low 1 year deal, low money, then I can see him going after that. Nick Needham, there may be some competition there because
Will he trade for Jordan Love?
but that my point is that now you have another coach who knows this roster well. You're going to see him competing for some of these players who are quote unquote free agents. The Dolphins won't care about Byron Jones, but maybe Nick Needham.
He's more than welcome to take all the bad draft picks and selections he made here. No problem. Yeah. Thank the Lord they stopped him from taking Jordan Love at least. Holy moly! Wow.
But on the other spectrum, I don't think they'll be as active as they were last year. Like last year was dollar bill, y'all, between Teron Armstead and Tyreek Hill and Connor Williams. I do think that, like you said, they're going to have to fill a lot of depth roles and competing for starting roles as far as linebacker, as far as cornerback depth, and then on offense, particularly the offensive line and the running back rooms. Those are the areas, and then backup quarterback, obviously. But those are probably the 5 areas I think they circle, but I don't expect them to make any big top of the market free agent splashes. Like I don't expect there to be a Teron Armstead or a Tyreek Hill to be in this class. Maybe more 6 or 7 medium to small signings and hope that it works with a new draft class.
Well, the Brian Flores thing I find very interesting. And I don't know if you're going to go or follow me down the tunnel that I'm going to go. But because I kind of look at things always in different ways and different angles to all of this. And one, I got to say I'm wrong because I didn't think he'd get a defensive coordinator. Forget head coach. And I didn't think he was going to get hired in Arizona only because they invested so much in the little guy that I think Kafka's the guy because they've got to save that stupid contract they gave that kid. And so now the only way, you can't get a defensive guy. And hiring Brian Flores would make no sense because he couldn't build an offensive staff. So how do you fix the $200 million mistake? So I think Kafka was going to get in. He probably knew. So we'll see. They haven't named who it is between the two guys yet. But I still didn't expect him to get a defensive coordinator job, and he did. And in the end, let me tell you the twisted part of all of this. I believe the NFL has behaved better than he has. I believe he has pointed empty fingers and empty accusations all over the place. Nobody has denied him because of color, especially in Miami. Not to say that it doesn't happen in the NFL. We know it happens in the NFL. But in his case, I don't think it has anything to do with color. He's been kind of a bitter dude, since this whole thing. And that's kind of who he was in the building while he was here, constantly fighting with people inside the building. Yet the NFL is being sued, by this guy and teams. And yet they have one team stepped up in Pittsburgh, who, of course, has led the way for the Rooney Rule and equality and all of that. So God bless them for that. But in the process, the rest of the NFL has opened their doors, has gladly interviewed him, on his skills, hoping that he can tweak the other shit that, kind of brought him down. And now he's got a defensive coordinator position. So the league that's getting sued didn't end up blackballing him. They ended up actually embracing him still and appreciating his coaching skills and trying to overcome the other stuff. So I actually commend the NFL because they have enough power. You and I know this. They have enough power to sweep him away, and nobody will ever do anything and nothing because this league is Teflon. They are Teflon to everything and anything. And Brian Flores was a gnat on their windshield that they could have swiped off, and they haven't. Kudos to the NFL. They've acted pretty damn good in this entire situation. I don't know anybody that hires you when you're suing them. So I never expected this.
I'm not completely going to follow you down that road, but I hear your point. Of course
not. I know what you work for. So
but I will say this. I do think that Brian Flores was bigger than a gnat on their perspective. I will say that the Brian Flores issue, and it's still ongoing, the legal case is still ongoing, was more.
You don't really want to go down this road with me, brother.
Give credit to. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that.
For decades, and look,
I'm going to leave it at that. I will say here, like we know that, what happened in Miami, some of the issues that Flores had here, right? The thing I like about this move for Minnesota, one, he's not going to have to worry about hiring an offensive staff as defense coordinator there. He just gets to focus on his side of the ball. And as we saw here, when he's focused on his side of the ball and all it is coaching the defense and getting them better and that side of the ball, he can be really good coaching that group up. And I think that he will be good in Minnesota. Now, when he has to go about getting a head coach job, some of the same questions that you are asking are going to be brought up again. How can you lead a building, given what happened in Miami? How can you fix the offensive side of the ball? Who are you going to hire? How do you relate with the quarterback? Those are questions that are going to come up.
Will you screw it up like Josh McDaniels again?
So, yes, these are questions that are going to come up, right? And I think that, but right now, as defensive coordinator, I think that he's going to be great for them. Like that's a defense that was horrific last year. And they were probably the defense is what held them back from being, competing in an NFC Championship, competing in the Super Bowl. And I'm just looking at what he can do there. I think that they're going to be special really quick. And then I think next year we'll be having these conversations. I do think that he'll be back up for a head coach job next year if it all goes well. And then you can bring up these questions again, and we'll see if another team takes.
Dude, I hope he learns from his thing, and then I hope he learns from watching Josh McDaniel now.
Yeah,
in his second go around, because obviously it's proving to be a terrible hire once again with that guy. He doesn't look like he's a head coach, overall. I look at our guy here, and I don't care what anybody tells me, dude. I'm locked on this. If it wasn't for the freaking injuries, they would have had a much better season. They would have won more games. You know what I mean? And they weren't the team like the Raiders losing double-digit leads in the fourth quarter over and over and over again. No, I saw a team that had great effort from beginning to end. I saw a team that was so injury depleted, they still could have beat the Bills in the damn playoffs. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest feeling I have about the Dolphins this year. I've never had this kind of feeling. Like they got through a season of hell, and I'm actually pretty impressed with their fight all the way to the end. Do they have holes in their game? Yeah, McDaniel's got to, fix his shit on game day, make better decisions. Do they need some luck on the injury side? Hell yeah. Do they need some talent, maybe at linebacker and a couple of other plays? Yeah, I get it. There's some holes. But, dude, what they did this year and trying to overcome all that stinking adversity, I got to tell you, man, I know that the losing streak kind of blinds people, but if you really look at the overall effort and the way they ended, to have that effort at the end after that losing streak, I think it shows a lot of your coaching staff and your players. That's just me.
Yeah, I do think that there was more good than bad that came out of this season. Obviously, every season there's 31 teams who are going to be disappointed who don't win the Super Bowl.
Of course.
But from where this team was making the playoffs, something they hadn't done in 5 or 6 years, seeing that their quarterback Tua, when healthy, can be the franchise guy they were hoping to be. Those were huge pluses for this team. And yeah, good steps for them to go forward. And I do think that Vic Fangio and the new defense will give them a little bit more cachet going into 2023. So if you're a Dolphins fan, I think there's reason for optimism. But the hard part of this step, and Dolphins fans are probably happy to have it, is that for 20 years, they've been trying to figure out how to get out of mediocrity, right? Now you're starting to get out of mediocrity and you're in the good stage. The hardest thing to do in football is to go from good to great, right? And so I think Dolphins fans would rather have the issue of how do we get from making the playoffs to winning playoff games and making it to the final stages. That's the stage they're in now. I think we passed the are they going to make the playoff stage ideally. To me, if they took a step back and missed the playoffs, that's regression and you got to figure it out. But where they are now, it's what can we do to get over the top? Maybe it's getting a little luck on health, but like we talked about, hope is not an option. So you can't just hope we're going to be healthy, and that's going to be the big difference. So I'm eager to see what changes they do make, which players make that next step, and see how they run it back.
I had a healthy debate with Perkins over at the Senior Bowl, and he's dead set that the roster is not good enough, this and that. And I'm more that it was about injuries. And this post is very interesting. This is the approximate value and draft capital invested by teams. And what it is the ROI, return on investment, for every pick over the past 4 drafts. And you look at each team for reference. The first overall pick is worth $3,000 on the Fitzgerald Spielberg chart, and the 63rd pick is worth $900. And look where the Dolphins are at. Okay? They're one of the highest. And look at the Jets. Jets also had injuries. And you look at their roster, outside of the quarterback, you have to agree. I know it's blasphemous in South Florida or in Dolphin land to say it, but they're up and coming. Hey, I thought the Jags made the playoffs. Oh, yeah, and a great comeback against Mr. Joker. The Lions, I guess their drafts as of late, people have been talking about it, right? Well, look, Dan the Man Campbell. They're the Dolphins. I can't explain the Raiders. There you go. The Giants, they made it back to the playoffs. And I guess Falcons and Texans, I guess they must have traded some of their players. But look at the Bengals. The Niners are here. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And we know the Rams have traded all their draft capital. That's why they're there. And look at the Bears. Apparently, they haven't done too well. So you look at it, ROI, it might be something that, people pick on the front office. But I think if you really look at their picks, and I tried to explain it to Perk, that if you look at their last 9 first-rounders, they've hit on 6 of them. If you look at their second-rounders, I believe they're either 4-1 or 4-2 or something like that in their second rounders. I mean, it's just they're actually hitting on picks. I just believe this year, if things actually worked out where you stayed healthy, I think we would have had a different team.
I think they're a lot closer. I think the way I look at it is, anything can happen in the playoffs, but where are you in comparison to the top teams in your division? Are you leading your division? Are you competing with the top teams in the AFC? And to me, there was a huge gap in 2021 between the Bills and the Dolphins. And now that gap is very, very small. There's a few plays. And to me, you got to get over the Bills, and then you can start looking at, to me, the 2 best teams in the AFC consistently over the last few years, the Chiefs and the Bengals. And that's that next tier. And right now, the Bills are the only thing in the way. And so it's completely reasonable for me to see them jumping the Bills. Now, are they ready to do the Chiefs and the Bengals in one off season? I don't know.
No. Slow down. Slow down.
But they're certainly in position with a great off season, making the right additions, the right improvements, that we could be looking at the Dolphins hosting a playoff game.
And you saw the Bills, how low they are. Apparently, they're not hitting on picks as of late. Right. They haven't been hitting on them as much. And guess what I'm looking at now? Yeah, baby. You got now his salary kicks in, Josh Allen. Yep. So all of a sudden now the Bills have to start making really difficult decisions. Their window might be actually closing a little bit more because their team is going to have to take a step back. They're not going to be able to pay everybody on the West Coast.
Right.
The Goldilocks for the Chargers. Well, guess what? They got to give them a new deal. and they're owned by Mr. Spanos. And they're already talking about Keenan Allen not coming back and the tight end not coming back and all that. So now all of a sudden, reality starts to step in. Okay. The Bengals. Hey, Mike Brown, you spent some money, but now we hear you want to trade T. Higgins. Well, that's going to change the complexion of your team if you want to trade T. Higgins. So all of these things start to change. And that's where Miami will have a chance to kind of close that gap, because these other teams have been playing with house money because their quarterback salary has not kicked in. Now that the quarterback salary or receiver salary or whatever it is that you got to pay kicks in, now you're going to have to make some financial decisions. And that's where it kind of gets hairy, because Dean Spanos is not going to be willing to have the amount of money in escrow that Stephen Ross will put in escrow. So It's just one of those things that I think that financial part that I don't think people think about so much. I'm thinking about it. Again, I try to look at all types of angles to all of this. I think that plays in the favor of Miami too.
Yeah, the biggest advantage in the NFL is to have a quarterback on a rookie contract. I don't know if it's said enough, but that's what it is. You look at situation now with Philadelphia. Philadelphia is able to spend a lot of money on the trenches, on different positions, and they are the best roster in football because their quarterback's on a rookie contract. So it's either have a Patrick Mahomes, who's the best quarterback in football by far, and you go a little cheaper on other areas. You don't keep a Tyreek Hill. You aren't able to keep certain players, and you make it work, and you're still really good, or you take advantage of this rookie contract slot. That's usually the main two roles. That's how the Bengals made their run this past year. They took advantage of that.
By the way, let me add something to your point.
Yep.
In a twisted way, the concussions just bought you another year for your window, because you're not giving him an extension. You definitely are going to tag him. There's no doubt in my mind the 5th-year option is coming. And at $22 million, by the way, didn't the cap go up $16 million? So next year, it'll go up another $16 million probably. So the $22 million is not going to hurt you anymore. So really, it's the 6th year. So now you have bought yourself 2 more years of trying to get this thing over the hump before the big money kicks in. If Tua proves he can stay healthy, of course, in these next 2 years, that you can give him that deal. You know what I'm saying? So technically, the concussions just bought you another year, because you and I know if there are no concussions this year, he didn't have injuries.
Right.
It was all about concussions. And so this year there were no ribs, no hip, no ankles, no nothing. You know, everybody conveniently leaves that out. And so let's say he goes this year without any concussions and he kicks ass and plays more games and they go deep into the playoffs. What happens, Cam? You and I, we're all talking about a $300 million deal right now in the offseason for Tua, which then limits you 1 year in the window to try to fix this and take advantage of what they've been doing in Buffalo. So if you want a small positive out of the concussions, it bought you a year. Agree or disagree?
I don't know if I take any positives out of concussions, but I will say I do hear your standpoint. Like I said, the best value in the NFL is a quarterback on a rookie contract, and so you extend that however long as possible. That increases your window. Once the quarterback does get paid, you have to adjust your rosters, and so you can't make as big of a swings for the Tyreek Hills or the Teron Armsteads. And so they're using this window, 2-3 window gap, where they can pay big money to Tyreek, pay big money to Teron, while Tua's contract is still low before you pay that. So yeah, next year he's going to be on a low number for the last year of his rookie deal. They give him the 5th year option, like I anticipate, like you've noted. Even that number is probably $25 million.
22 and a half.
And then from there, you decide extensions. So maybe there's a 2-year gap right here coming up where you still have Tua on low number rookie contracts or low salary. Because even if you do an extension after next year, that first year number is going to be low. And so you're looking at whether it's the 5th year option or the new first year of a contract extension. You probably got 2 years of low number for your quarterback coming up.
That is a great point you just added to that. That is fantastic, bro. All right, what do you got going on in the NFL Network? Because you're obviously too tired to be on the air. yawning and stuff and all that.
I'm good, man.
We woke you up for this segment there in the off season.
Yeah, I've been laying around with my baby girl in the bed. I'm not gonna lie. I've been in Vegas for 8 straight days, and so my body needed a day where I wasn't up at 7 a.m. for work and wasn't out till about 1 a.m. At least for nightlife. So I'm catching up on all of it today and really the next couple days for sure. So
all right, good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe and catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, as always, appreciate you, my man.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. Have a good one.
You got it. There you go. KSdt CPAs. They know how to get it done. We've been telling you about them now for over a year. Great people. You want to take your business to the next level. Okay. Of course, they'll do your personal taxes, whatever it is that you need to handle. But if you need some help in management, they can help you. Healthcare advisory, property management, wealth management. They do it all, folks. Estate and gift tax, family business tax planning, retirement planning, state and local tax consulting. They can help you. Crypto. They've got a crypto department. So if you're a crypto person like I am, not all these accounting firms really understand crypto. They've got a specific department dedicated to crypto there. They've got offices in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. So it's a South Florida company, but they are expanding. All right. They're a top 200 accounting firm by Forbes in this country, and they're moving also to North Carolina. We'll tell you when they open and where they open the office in North Carolina, but all kinds of assurance taxes that they can help you with, accounting services there from bookkeeping to bank statements, cash flow analysis, all of those things. They can help you make sure you're maximizing your business. And if you're looking to sell it, they can also help you do that too, so you can find out the value of your business. So please call them, Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach counties, 305-670-3370. KSdt CPAs, man. One of America's finest accounting firms, one of America's best tax firms, and that is by Forbes 2023, baby. 305-670-3370. Tell them that Big O sent you. Support the amazing companies that support this platform every single day, bringing you the sports talk that you deserve.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolfe. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right. There we go. Excuse me, but didn't two have a reported back injury? I got a bridge in the Keys. You want me to sell you that too? It's a smaller one. You can fish from it. You want to hang out? You can do that also, dude. I mean, if you're that naive, we can, it's all good. If you believe that. Hey, by the way, the election in 2020 was rigged. You following that one too? You that stupid also? Oh, and the NFL didn't know anything about concussions for decades. You're that dude, huh? You're that dude. You believe the back injury thing. Come on, man. It's a concussion. We all know it was a concussion. But, no, it was a back injury. Yeah, of course. Sometimes you just got to, call bullshit when it's bullshit. And it's probably a lot of bullshit there. Oh, and it's the NFL. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Fishing from a bridge is, hey, listen, my bridge, Rhino, it's pretty nice. Just redid the bridge. New asphalt, everything. It's really nice now. We've upgraded it. So I got to charge you a little bit more for that bridge, but I've got it for sale. So, Big D, if you're ready, let's go, man. Let's talk bridge. Okay. Buffalo is re-signing Tremaine Edmunds and letting Poyer go this offseason. I don't know what Buffalo's going to do, bro. We don't know. We'll find out what they're going to do, what they're going to sign, what they're going to let go, but they're not going to be able to keep everybody anymore because salaries are kicking in. That's all. Pretty simple. Pretty simple, man. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show at Cash App or Venmo. Always appreciate it. All right, so we told you about the Canes defeating Duke. Lightning lose to the Panthers 7-1. Kachuk had 2 goals and 3 assists. Thursday, they take on San Jose, 7 p.m. Heat are off till Wednesday. They take on the Pacers at 7:30. Lowry dealing with the knee and crappy play, and Oladipo with the ankle. Will they trade anybody? That's the question. That is the question. Will they be able to trade anybody? And by the way, I talked a little bit about it with Cam. But there's this thing out there when it comes to, the draft, and I think there's a misconception about the draft and what the Dolphins have done in the draft. And, some people think, like my man Perk and others, that maybe they haven't been good enough. And this graph that I'm showing you here, this gentleman, Patton and Analytics, it says, what does the average ROI for every pick over the past 4 drafts look like for each team? For reference, the first overall pick is worth $3,000 on the Fitzgerald-Spielberg chart, and the 63rd pick is worth $900. And so as you look, the Dolphins are pretty much right there in 4th place. Actually, officially in 4th place, because they're ahead of these, right behind the Lions, let's say, or maybe equal to the Lions. Jets and Jags. So over the last 4 drafts, these guys have actually been able to hit on a lot of picks. And this is when I think Greer has been completely in charge. The years of Gase and Tannenbaum, and Flo, as you just heard Cam talk about it, that Flo wanted Raekwon Davis. I'm pretty sure he wanted Noah Monogamy. And I know he wanted for sure the, what's the name of the tight end? Hunter Long. Okay. So we all know he wanted Jordan Love. The good thing is for Minnesota, he's not going to be in the personnel department. That's a good thing. But I mean, it's just one of those deals where they are hitting on some picks a lot more than they used to. And I want to bring this up because throughout the offseason, media, people that don't know shit about football, whether they're talking about it, you see them on television, on radio, locally, writing, or whatever, they are going to do whatever they can to spread FUD because FUD sells. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And you guys buy it hook, line, and sinker. And I want to show you this because what I want to remind you of is that they do have a great front office. And one of the things that I tell you about crypto is you got to stay strong and stay the course. I wouldn't tell you this under Philbin. I wouldn't tell you this under certain people, but under Greer and Allen and McKenzie and McDaniel, I like this group. I think this is the most potential we've ever had since the Shula days. Okay? Since the Shula days. Anything after Shula, I think this has more potential to do better than anything we've had here. And I just don't want people to get so frustrated and then listen to people writing about all kinds of stuff. See, now you have like I explained, I hate to pick on the guy so much, but this Mark Ross guy, that I when I got in the car and I'm listening to Joe, and it's like, this guy doesn't know what the hell, and this guy's a former NFL GM. And this is the kind of shit that you see on radio and on television. And then, the hosts aren't going to challenge them. You know what I'm saying? That's not the way I play the game. If even my guest says something that's a little outrageous or offline, I'm going to straighten it out. Or I'm going to say, no, I disagree with that. I don't care. You know what I mean? Mark Ross says that, I would have said, no, wait a minute, dude. I think you're wrong. This is not, they're not an attacking defense. But this is what happens. And then they misinform you. You know how many idiots? Not a lot, because less people listen live. They all listen mostly on demand. But how many people are going to hear that interview and then walk away and say, oh, no, Fangio has an attacking defense. And then they're walking away misinformed. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to tell you FUD about this guy may not come. And Fangio, remember the whole Fangio? Oh, this, that. Fangio was always coming. He was just, he's old school. He didn't want the shit getting out. So obviously his agent screwed up, let it out. And then he was like an old, he's like this old, I don't want to say grouch, but he's kind of like set in his way. So when Mike Silver called, no, I haven't agreed to anything. So then Mike Silver then Fudley goes out there and puts fear in it. Oh, no, he has. And his relationship with Shanahan, none of that was ever going to happen. He was coming here the entire time. But they spread the FUD. So you're going to get a lot of that in life and everything. Oh, there's going to be a recession. No, there's no recession. We're going to have a soft landing. This is everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, in all walks of life, in all kinds of things, because negativity sells. And fear gets your attention. Reality, like this, bores the shit out of you. So I just want to, because we're early in the off season, and I'd rather you stay strong. I'd rather you not listen to a whole bunch of idiots out there that really don't know what they're talking about. Idiots that just want clickbait. Idiots that just want to bring some kind of attention to themselves, because they really don't just want to talk about the issues. And just like that, okay, as I show you the front office, I then also want to remind you that Tua Tagovailoa is freaking really good. Okay? And here is a graph of how each quarterback performed against the top half and bottom half defenses in 2022. Bubble size is a percent of plays against top half of defenses, minimum 300 plays. Number 1, Pat Mahomes. Number 2, Joe Burrow. Number 3, Tua Tagovailoa. Josh Allen is 4th. By the way, Kyler Murray. But you look at it up here at the top and at the front here. I just want to remind you, okay? I want to keep you strong mentally. Don't give in to the FUD, okay? Don't give in to idiots like Mark Ross, who said Tua can't play. Right? You don't want to give in to that, because he can play. Now, the injury thing, he's got to overcome. We all know that. He's not the first that has had to overcome injuries early on in his career and then have a good career. He can do it. He's just got to, as I've said, he's got to learn to be very smart and get rid of the football early, like all the other quarterbacks that are just like him that can get rid of the football right away. This is the hero ball shit, just does not fly. If you're built like Josh Allen, go ahead, man. Put up with as many hits as you want. Eventually, one of those hits is going to cost you. But I just want you to, stay level-headed here. And don't allow people to talk about crap that really is not true. The Dolphins have a good front office. The Dolphins have a hell of a quarterback. His problem is health. That's always been his only problem from college on, has been the health issue. It's never been about playing. But too many of you now that you're wrong, that's all you can hang on. But that's fine. I get it. It's a really cowardly approach. You said he couldn't play. Now that he proved you're wrong, well, now you'll ride out the injury stuff like you were really smart and that's what you were doing from the get-go. No, you weren't. So, Dolphins are pretty damn good. They just need some breaks. to happen to them next year. Like a lot of teams, if they're going to go deep, they got to stay healthy, relatively healthy. You're going to have some injuries, but you got to, stay away from those big time key injuries that really change the complexion of your team. Do want to remind you about Sports Grill. Great people as always. 8 great locations, man. You got to take advantage, man. Go to Sports Grill. Go to sportsgrill.com. Find out about the 8 amazing locations. And listen, Super Bowl Sunday. The Doral location is open. It is awesome. It is a beautiful place. So if you get an opportunity, and of course, you can check out all the different locations from Kendall and everywhere else. Overall, Sunset down by, it's not called Sunset Place, but whatever the hell that thing is called. They always change it from Bakery Center, Sunset Place, or I don't know what the hell it's called now, but it's right there, right? Used to be the old Beverly Hills Cafe. Anybody remember the old Beverly Hills Cafe? That is the Sports Grill right there, across from the old Cazola's, right? Right? Cazola's is not there anymore, right? Or Cazoli's. Cazola's is on US 1 and 17th. So, I mean, we got 8 great locations, man. Go check it out. Great place to go with the family and friends. Great atmosphere. The food is awesome. The service is fantastic. Sportsgrill.com, baby. Mondays, the single smash burger, $7. Tuesdays, today, $2 tacos, chicken, beef, and fish. Wednesdays, the kids eat free. Purchase of an adult entree. Go to sportsgrill.com and enjoy the Super Bowl. Jan says, my mom worked at Beverly Hills Cafe back in the 80s. Which one? The one on Sunset or the one on Sunrise? I remember there was one on Sunrise right before the Sunrise Musical Theater. Depends, right? There were a couple. I forgot where else there was I think there was another Beverly Hills Cafe in South Florida, right? I remember those two. The Sunset one and the one on Sunrise. I don't know about there's got to be another one. Cuz it was a thing back in the day, the Beverly Hills Cafe. Problem is we need them on Sunday and not just someday. That's fine. As I've always said, this is your best option right now. To diss the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL is kind of stupid. I'm going to ride with the kid, and I'm going to give him another chance to see if he can stay healthy. There's no better option anyway. So that's the obvious thing about all of that. But I just wanted to bring reality to all out there. So they're always going to, the FUD and the negativity eats you guys up alive, and you get swallowed in by it. So it's all good. It's typical of the average person out there that you're either dumb enough to believe everything that they're telling you because you don't really do your own homework, right, overall, or, you give in to the fear all the time. And, that's just kind of the way it goes. That's life. Sean Payton. I thought this was kind of interesting. The Sean Payton move now to Denver. So he was asked about Russell Wilson having his own personal trainer. Okay. And let me lower my volume here, but let's play Sean Payton addressing the media and the question asked about Russell Wilson.
30-second.
Coach, Russell Wilson had a personal coach, Jake Heaps, in the building with access who wasn't on the staff.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that.
How do you feel about players having their own people off the staff in the building, access to players?
Yeah, that's foreign to me. That's not going to take place here. I mean, I'm unfamiliar with it, but our staff will be here, our players will be here, and that'll be it.
Coach,
So this tells me a couple things. All right. This tells me that Sean Payton took over the team and told the owner and the general manager, hey, I'm going to try to, make it work, but don't force me. I'm still going to do it my way. And he's going to have to do it our way. And this trainer stuff, you're out. He had his own parking space. He has an office there. What the hell does a player need an office? Seriously, that's so ridiculous. I wouldn't give any player an office. I mean, that's the problem with the Miami Heat. They gave Jimmy Butler an office, and he said, "Hey, get me Kyle Lowry." They gave LeBron an office. Hey, get me Shabazz Napier. No, don't trade Mike Miller. I'll get mad. Broken down Mike Miller. I mean, give me a break, dude. So Sean Payton clearly took over saying, it's my way or the highway. A younger coach, an inexperienced coach, a newbie might have had to go into that place and say, well, you got to try to make it work with Russell. But clearly he came in and drew the line in the sand and said, yeah, no, that shit don't go. No. He's going to be a player just like everybody else. You're going to do what we need you to do. This is going to be very interesting to see how it works out. And we're going to find out, has Russell Wilson become too much of a diva? Because that's kind of the thing that was going on in this whole problem with him, is that people thought when he came in, they gave him so much power and he really hadn't earned it. And remember, we had this conversation a couple of months ago when Teron Armstead was breaking down and Kyle Lowry is still Kyle Lousy. And we started to talk about this. When you sign a free agent contract, Joe Fan on the new team, okay? I'm Mr. Detroit Lion fan. And you signed certain player to a 5-year, $100 million deal. And that guy has been, for the last 7 years, one of the best players in the NFL. Pick whatever position you want. I don't care. Well, guess what? Me, Joe Fan from the Lions, I don't care what he did for 7 years. I only give a shit about what he's going to do for me right now. Earn your money now. I get they're paying you for what you've established that you're going to be, but you better establish yourself that you can produce that. Because if not, I don't care. I don't care what Kyle Lowry did in Toronto. That don't mean shit to me. They're paying your sorry ass $30 million to play for the Heat and play at an incredibly high level. Now, it's the Heat's fault for thinking he can play at a $30 million level. And it's his fault because it just doesn't look like he's even trying to play the best he can possibly play. Looks to me like he's going through the motions. I don't know if his little self got all hurt because they called him fat. Well, guess what? When we're fat, we're fat. What? It is what it is, dude. Man up. And that's my problem with all of this now. That if you're the Denver Broncos fan, I don't care what Russell Wilson did in Seattle. I don't care that he's got fine ass Ciara as a wife. None of that shit means anything to me. I want to know what he's doing for my Broncos. They paid him a whole bunch of money, not for what he had done already in Seattle, what he's going to do in Denver. So any and every free agent that signs a new contract and they're surprised at the criticism, how stupid can you be, Mr. Free Agent? You haven't done shit for the new team you signed for. You don't deserve any respect. You earned your respect in the last franchise with the last, what's it called? A fan base. But when you sign on to a new fan base, well, you got to earn their respect. And if all you're doing is earning money and not respect, well, then guess what? You're going to get a ton of criticism. Well-deserved criticism. And Russell Wilson deserves a ton of criticism because he played like crap. And I don't know what it is. He can't adjust to a traditional offense. He wants to, ad lib more, or he has lost it, or I don't know what it is. I'm not smart enough to tell you after one season in a dysfunctional situation. But you would hope that Sean Payton's going to bring more structure and discipline to all of this. And if Russell Wilson doesn't want to hear any more criticism, well, then, dude, you got to step up. You wanted all that money? Well, now you got to live up to it. And when you're not living up to it, deal with the criticism. Kyle Lowry has no one to blame but himself. Teron Armstead missed a few games, but, dude, he fought through some other games with the injuries to get on the field and even played in the playoff game. That's some character. And he played at a high level when he was playing. I can't say that about Russell Wilson, and I can't say that about Kyle Lowry. That's where Teron Armstead separates himself from those other two guys. I may not be happy that he missed some games, but I have to be very happy and impressed with the effort when he did play and when he was injured on the way he still made it to the field and participated and helped out even in the playoff game. That earns my respect. I hope he can stay healthier next year. I know it's difficult for him because he's had all these injuries, but at least that earns my respect. Whereas the Denver fans should not have any respect for Russell Wilson. The Heat fans should not have any respect for Kyle Lowry. Those guys aren't earning their money. And nobody gives a shit what Kyle Lowry did in Toronto. And in Denver, they do not care what Russell accomplished in Seattle, and they shouldn't. That's the danger of signing a free agent contract. And now Russell Wilson and that video with Sean Payton, that's like drawing the line in the sand like, no. This is how it's done now. Time for you to adjust. So, fire's been lit under Russell Wilson's ass. Let's see if he can answer the bell here late in his career. All right, let's find out about some Canes news. Boy, Mario Cristobal is looking for coach. You guys have a coach under the rock there, under your house, somewhere in some school, somewhere near you? Help out Mario Cristobal. He needs to find some coaches. Time to talk to Manny Navarro in our Canes Ware Miami Hurricanes report.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Ware at Miami Fanware in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Ware, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of fantasyxs.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Ware Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. How you doing, my man? You doing good?
Yeah, man. Feeling like Adam Schefter these days. Just looking at my phone all day, texting people. I mean, it's you got 2 coordinator searches going on. You're a busy man.
It's like an Easter egg hunt every day for Mario Cristobal.
It really is, man. It really is. Although I think we're making progress on the defensive coordinator front. I think that might be the first job that's filled.
Fuerte.
Charlie Strong. Yeah,
bro.
I think a lot of people initially thought this was a slam dunk, right? Like you just slide him over.
He doesn't want it or something?
Well, no, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think part of it is what Mario wants long term, right? And I think there were other guys. I know there were other guys that when he went through the process last year, he showed a lot of interest in. And I think some of them might be available this time around. I think Anthony Campamil, who's
Wait a minute.
I know.
A young guy is going to be ambitious. A young guy is not going to stick around.
Right.
Charlie Strong is at a point in his life that he's probably not looking for any more head coaching jobs. And he obviously lives and eat and breathes defense, and he knows defenses.
Right.
I think that's a guy you can get, and plus kids gravitate to him. He's also very likable with kids. He's a terrific recruiter. He's very personable. I just think that, like, wow, I just think Charlie Strong would be a lot of stability. But that's just
No,
me.
those are all great reasons. Oh, I'm not arguing with you on any of those fronts. I mean, look, he's proven, right? He's been a head coach. He's got plenty of experience. He can help you recruit. But I also think, behind the scenes, I'm not sure that Mario was happy with everything on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm not saying he blames Charlie Strong for it, but sometimes when you don't like the way things turn out, you want change. And again, Mario's the kind of coach who interviews a lot of people. He takes a long time through this process. And as I've mentioned to you many times before, there are guys that he wanted last year that he showed interest in that didn't want to take the job for whatever reason. And I think there may be scenarios now where some of these guys are available to him and are interested in coming here now because of their situation has changed.
So this was a Kevin Steele dismissal more than a Kevin Steele steal from Saban?
No, I don't want to say that. I think again,
you just said he was unhappy with things on defense.
Yes, I don't think he was. I'll put it to you this way. I don't think he was satisfied. In other words, it wasn't like he was like, "Oh man, we lose Kevin Steele and this is going to be a disaster," right? Like it wasn't like he felt that way. I think he felt like there could be changes on defense if the opportunity presented itself. Kevin Steele got called by Nick Saban, who he's worked with multiple times, to come back and be the coordinator at Alabama. So it opens the door to new possibilities. Charlie Strong was with Nick Saban in 2020, by the way. He was an analyst on that staff at Alabama. I know that there's a chance that he could be going with Kevin Steele to Alabama. So, look, behind the scenes, there's a lot of different moving parts. And all I'm trying to tell you is there are other guys that I think Mario would like to have as his defensive coordinator. It doesn't have to be Charlie Strong. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. No, because, the way I was looking at it, the good thing for Mario on a negative is that you definitely hired the right guy if Saban's stealing him.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, whether he was unhappy or not, the fact that Saban wants him, that tells me that Mario had the right guy. And then, how many butthurt Canes fans did you get about Kevin Steele?
Well, I mean, listen, they what they remember is losing to Middle Tennessee State and giving up big touchdown plays. So they don't.
I know, but did they say he was the phony or not committed or all that kind of crap?
I mean, Miami fans, they trash anybody on the way out the door. I mean,
I got a couple of those guys, and you know what I said? Hey, don't forget Mario Cristobal also left Miami for Alabama.
Yeah, of course, guys. People listen.
People leave for better jobs, and at the moment, Alabama next to Georgia is the best job you can get.
Listen, Kevin Steele, I think when he took this job, wanted to be a part of helping Miami get back. Like I had plenty of conversations with him. I didn't get the sense he was being fake. Like I think he really thought, but they ran into issues here. There are issues. And when you put together a new staff, which is what Mario did, in a new environment on a coast where you haven't coached in a long time because you're out on the West Coast, you're going to run into issues. And that's what happened. And so, look, I think there's a couple different guys that he's looking at for that side of the football. And if those changes happen, I think there's going to be changes probably across the defense.
All right. So give me some names, bro. What's going on defense?
Yeah, well, let me give you some names. I think Anthony Campanale, who's the Dolphins linebackers coach, obviously he's been here for 3 years, Jersey guy. I think Mario was at Rutgers with him when he was a player there under Greg Schiano. He was with, on the staff for 3 years. I know he showed a lot of interest in Campanile last year. Obviously, the Dolphins are going through their scenario, right, of changes. And
Fangio. Yeah, he may not be part of Fangio's staff. Yeah.
So I think that's why there's a real possibility that maybe Campanile is now available, and this is sort of the perfect quote unquote timing. And there's another name which hasn't really been out there, and I'm going to share it with you because we're insiders.
Sharing is caring. Okay, I just want you to know.
Yes. But this morning I got a message from one of my colleagues at the Athletic, Ari Wasserman, who mentioned Lance Guidry, who was the defensive coordinator at Marshall, just got hired by Tulane. Lance was played for McNeese State. Was there multiple times as a safeties coach at FAU back in 2020 under Willie Taggart. But the last 2 years, he's helped Marshall build one of the best defenses in college football. In fact, they were number one against on third down defense. They were top 10 in scoring defense, top 10 against passer efficiency rating, all the things that you need to be good at. And Marshall, if you remember, they beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame earlier this year. I think they had 6 consecutive games where they gave up 13 points or less. And so he's a guy that I know there's interest in, and I think there's a possibility that he could be Mario's choice as well.
Okay. Offensive coach. What's the deal?
Yeah, I think things were trending towards Jason Candle. And again, that's another guy Mario has really liked. He's Toledo's head coach, a guy that, I think runs the kind of offense that Mario wants to run. He runs a lot of 2 tight end sets and can score points. Toledo's had a good program. They've won 2 MAC championships under Candle while he's been there. But I think we've kind of gone through that phase where dominoes fall, right? Tommy Rees gets taken by Alabama from Notre Dame. Now Notre Dame's looking at an offensive coordinator. Maybe Jason Candle's looking at them, or maybe he's deciding that he's going to stay at Toledo. I don't know. I know that that's who he really liked. And for a while there, it seemed like maybe that was the guy who would become Miami's offensive coordinator, but I don't know where that stands now. I've mentioned Doug Nussmeier, who's the former Cowboys quarterbacks coach, who we'll see. Did the Ravens end up hiring an offensive coordinator yet? That hasn't happened yet, right? We still don't have an answer on the Ravens OC.
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, until we get an answer with that, we may not get any progress on potentially Nussmeier and other dominoes falling as well. So, and then I mentioned James Coley in the past. He's an excellent recruiter. I know he was Miami's offensive coordinator years ago. Some Miami fans shrugged their shoulders. Why do we want that guy? He was here already, didn't do well. Look, James Coley's an excellent receivers coach, excellent recruiter, as I mentioned. That's an area of need. I mentioned to you before on the show here that maybe co-defensive coordinator with somebody else. I mean, co-offensive coordinator, rather, with somebody else here on the staff as a possibility. So I think we're further along. I think for a while it looked like maybe offensive coordinator we get a resolution to. I don't know that we're there anymore. I think we're closer on defensive coordinator.
By the way, Campanile would be getting a salary boost
compared to what he makes with the Dolphins, right? As linebacker.
Hell yeah, dude. They don't pay an assistant coach what they pay a defensive coordinator in a top program. Hell no, man. So he would make more money when it's all said and done. All right. By the way, that story you guys had about Rashada and all that.
Yeah.
That's some crazy stuff, too.
Yeah, it's excellent reporting. Oh, I mean, that's why I enjoy working at the Athletic. Just the wide. Let me tell you, man. There's some really great reporters there. Andy Staples, who lives in Gainesville and worked for Sports Illustrated for many years. Just so well connected. He got his hands on the actual contract. I had been dealing with Rashada's agent for a little while he was being recruited by Miami, and it was a story that it's like it feels like it's been a year and a half sort of been building to this point, and we put it together in 1 week between 6-7 of us, national reporters, guys out in California, Alan Taylor, who's our Gators writer, and then Stuart Mandel, who's just an excellent writer in general. He's our editor-in-chief at the Athletic. Did a great job with the piece.
You guys got to see it. Subscribe to the Athletic, because that's a great story. Like a lot of stuff that they got there, but.
Right.
That is just classic, dude. Holy moly. And anything else going on UM-wise that we should mention?
No, I mean, look, great win by the basketball team last night, right? I mean, blowing out Duke, and they deserve some credit for that. I think, from a roster perspective, again, I spoke to somebody earlier this week. I think, getting wide receiver help after spring football is a high priority for Miami. They're always looking at the market, always encouraging guys to enter the portal, right? Come play for us. I think that will continue in the offseason. So I know Miami fans are worried. Hey, what about receiver? What are they going to do there? I think defensive tackle is another position where you hope to get somebody to replace Darrell Jackson. They went out and they picked up a couple of guys that I think will be part of the rotation, and Branson Dean, and the kid they got out of Georgia State. I think both of those guys play, but I think they're still looking for that big monster in the middle of the defense. I would say those are their two primary needs when they go shopping, and they've got plenty of scholarships. There are going to be some guys leaving after spring football, but I think people ask me, hey man, what do you think? I think 8 wins. If they can get to 8 wins this year, fix the offense, that's a good season coming off of 5-7 and what a disaster it was last year. Get to 8 wins.
Yeah, play organized. Play
organized. I think that'll be a good season for Mario, and I think then you start to convince some of these elite wide receivers who keep leaving town to go play for Ohio State and Alabama and Georgia and everybody else to stay here. I think that's the priority. If you look at year 2 goals for Mario, stack another top 10 recruiting class in the last one that you just signed, get some elite players here locally to want to come play for you on offense, and keep recruiting great offensive and defensive linemen. I think he's really improved that side of the football. The offensive line might be one of the most improved units in the country this coming season. And that's not BSing. I'm not just trying to hype them up or anything like that. I'm telling you the truth. I think they really will be a lot better on the offensive line.
Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic. Even better, subscribe so you can get a lot of great stories all over the country, and then obviously your local coverage of your local teams. Manny, as always, appreciate you, my brother. We'll catch up on Friday.
All right. Good talking to you, man.
Thank you, sir. There you go. Manny Navarro, Canes Ware, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. They got practically anything and everything with a Canes logo on it. Even if you want a neon sign for your bar at home, that's Canes, that revolves or flashes. They got that kind of stuff too. I mean, it's crazy. Jerseys and hats and shirts and Heat gear and Marlins gear and Panthers gear and Dolphins gear and Inter Miami gear and gear on sale. And by the way, if you can't make it to Davie, okay, you can go online at caneswear.com, and if you order over $99, you will get free shipping. They've got sneakers and sandals and Canes colors. I mean, really, seriously, anything and everything practically with a Canes logo. Brett will find it, and he'll have it in that store. So great people. caneswear.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Canes Ware at Miami Fanware in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Canes Ware, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, folks. Hey, it's time to celebrate. It's a victory, a Perdomo victory cigar. Yeah, it is time. Are you guys ready to celebrate with me? Because there's been a big accomplishment going on here in South Florida sports, and it just happened right now. My Lord, the Miami Heat have traded Dwayne Dedmon and a second-round pick to the San Antonio Spurs, which now puts them $5 million under the luxury tax. There you go. Wow. That is success nowadays for the Miami Heat. Let's get under the cap. Yeah. Of course. That's it. But you guys keep spending all that money. My Lord. That's what we got to look forward to. Tell you, the decisions lately have just not been up to par to what we're used to. Just gotta call it like I see it, man. And and the overachieving has been awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's been impressive, and I know people, they were one shot away from the finals and all that, and they made it in the bubble in the finals. And I get it, but it's just, I think it's so deceiving. I really do. You're not that team. Let's see. You watch. Miami will trade X to the Vikings. Flores loves X. No, they won't, Mr. Torres. No, they won't. That's ridiculous. He has so much money. He's got injuries. Maybe he had surgery or is about to have surgery or something, overall, because He played with, and he hasn't played up to par. He's got a lot of money left on his deal. That window passed. And he's not the head coach or the general manager. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think that that's going to end up happening, but, whatever. Now, don't be surprised if when they release Noah Igbenogany at one point, he picks him up. Don't be surprised if something happens with Raekwon Davis, that he picks him up. That I can see him doing, but X with all the money and the baggage and everything, nobody's trading for him anymore. That's where fans get. It's like the idiot that says, "Hey, would you trade Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry for Kevin Durant?" No, I wouldn't, you idiot. No, of course not. No, why would I trade for a guy that could actually shoot? Yeah, no, why should I actually trade for a legit superstar? No, of course not. No, I wouldn't do that. Same thing here. It's just ridiculous. X has practically no trade value anymore at this point. Nobody's picking up. He's got court issues off the field. He's got the injury concerns and the downplay this year. And he did not put so much bad tape out there that it's just not going to be a good year for him at all. And for the Dolphins, problem is, Mr. Torres, you're the same guy that was against trading X 2 years ago when I said it. You're the same guy. You're the same kind of people that say you don't want Tua, and then when he kicks ass, you want Tua. And then when he gets injured, oh, no, he's no good. You flip-flop. You're the same kind of people. You want to trade something when it's unrealistic to trade, and then you're not willing to trade when it is the peak, when it's the right moment. That's why I say with Jimmy Butler, this is the right moment to trade him. Okay? But I guarantee you, Mr. Torres is the same guy that was against me during the X suggestion 2 years ago that I said, now, after these 10 interceptions, now's when you trade him. So, I know how it is. Oh, suck for Tua, suck for Tua, suck for Tua, or what is it, tank for Tua? And then when you get him and he has, oh, no, get rid of Tua. And it's the same thing, bro. The same people do the same thing all the time. They flip-flop and they say one thing and then they switch over. And then they tell you ridiculous things now, like, let's trade X now. Like, if anybody's really going to be interested. And if you know what, by the way, Mr. Torres, if you got to trade for X, you know what it would be? A third-day pick. Because they assume all the responsibility, the money, the injuries, the court cases, all that stuff. That's called no leverage. Zero. Some of you out there, you just don't live in reality. You live in this fantasy world. I have no idea this fantasy world that you all live in. By the way, speaking of Perdomo cigars, have you tried the Lot 23? Go to your nearest cigar bar, cigar store, anywhere in the world, wherever you're watching. They probably have Perdomo cigars. If they don't, then it's really not a great cigar bar. The 20th anniversary is one of my favorite cigars, and I love the 10th anniversary too. But the 20th anniversary, I got to tell you, the Maduro, it is so awesome, dude. It's got these notes of like chocolate espresso. You know what I'm saying? The 10th anniversary, the sun-grown has got the earthy flower type spicy and sweetness to it. It's really, really good. Try the double age, 12-year vintage. The Estate Selección is always absolutely awesome. The Maduro, by the way, got a 94 rating from Cigar Journal. If you haven't been to their factory, you should go right here in Miami at 5150 Northwest 167th Street in Miami Lakes, right off of the Palmetto on 57th Avenue. Okay? You go there, you might meet Nick Perdomo, because he's always walking around. They got a ginormous humidor with any and every single type of Perdomo cigar available out there. They've got this ginormous, beautiful leather couch. It's like 30 feet long. I am not kidding you. It is a 30-foot long couch, maybe even longer. I don't know. Big TV, beautiful area to enjoy your smoke with some friends. And you might meet Nick. You just never. Nick Jr. is going to be hanging around. If you see Arthur Kemper out there, talk to him. some of the boys out there rocking and rolling. I always get in there and I start talking Iron Maiden, all kinds of music with some of the guys. So Perdomo Cigars, great place and a great way to go get a Perdomo cigar. If you're in town or you visit, by the way, maybe you can ask them for a little tour of the factory and they might give you a little tour and show you all that stuff. So Perdomo Cigars, 5150 Northwest 167th Street. If you can't come to Miami, well, then go to your nearest cigar bar or store and ask for it by name, a little Perdomo cigar. Let's see, what else do we have? The Heat are not winning a championship without another star, so maybe trading Jimmy is the way to go. If you're not going to win, blow it up. If you don't blow it up now, you won't be able to blow it up down the line. You're going to have to wait till the last year of Jimmy's deal for an expiring deal. And then, yeah, okay, sure, we'll take a $50 million hole that we can open in our cap, and then you're taking back something, and it's just really, 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 really tough, man. So what can I tell you? Let's see. Not true. Flores did not like X. Flores like Byron Jones. Jamie, you could not be more wrong, bro. Okay, he loved X. He loved X. He wanted X badly. So, Pat in Nashville. Oh, what happened to Joe Shad's segment? I enjoy that guy. You want to pay? You want to become a sponsor, Pat in Nashville? You ready? Want to step up? Ready? You got a business? You want to step up? This is a profession. We're not in mom's basement doing, some kind of hobby here. That's why you go to those other types of shows. They don't have what we have. They don't produce what we produce. They don't give you the insight that we give you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all professionals that are on here, not just fans that think they know something or want to know something when they have no connections and no insight whatsoever. So, and I'm not going to ask people to come on all the time. They're friends of mine, but I'm not going to be abusive on it. So, your business wants to step up and support Joe Shad's segment and promote your business and get new business and market your brand, step up, Pat in Nashville. You're more than welcome, my friend. So, that's how it goes. That's life. So we are working on trying to bring back Joe and Marcel, by the way. Okay? So those are two segments that are open that we want to bring back. So we're trying to tie it to new sponsors. Okay? So Pat in Nashville, let's go. Because apparently some of you guys think that this is a game. Not a game, bro. It's a profession. So we shall see. Anyway, NFL fans, this is what you need to plan for now over the next couple of months, and so you can kind of get a feel for what's going on with the Dolphins and the league. First of all, on the 21st of this month is when franchise and transition tags can be placed. So starting on February 21st, that's when you're going to see a tag on Tua. Will you see one on Raekwon Davis? No. Will you see one on Brandon Jones? No. Okay? Those guys, Brandon now goes to a new defense, so he will have to come back from injury, prove himself to Fangio to get that new contract or get tagged next year. One of the two. Raekwon Davis definitely does not deserve a tag. He needs to play out his fourth year, and I mean, if he's not motivated for this, I don't know what is, but starting February 21st, look out for the Tua tag. That's probably when it's going to happen, and they will pick up his fifth-year option. February 28th through March 6th, the NFL Combine takes place. I'll be there for a couple of days myself. Then I'll be back March 4th. I have an event down here that we're going to be broadcasting on that Saturday. We'll tell you about that down the line. But I'll be out there for the Combine for a couple days, gathering some information and all that good stuff like I always do every year. So February 28th through March 6th, we've got the Combine. Then March 13th through the 15th, that's when teams are now allowed to negotiate with players for negotiate with agents and unrestricted players. Okay. So guys that are going to be outright free agents, the door is open. You start negotiating on the 15th. That's when the league year begins. And that's when the free agent deals at 4 p.m. start flying in. Okay. Well, maybe they'll wait till 7 o'clock just to say, well, it took us a couple of hours. Whatever. But so March 15th, that's when you've got the league year starting. That's when free agency starts. April 21st will be the deadline for restricted free agents to sign their offer sheets. So let's say they give Raekwon a contract, and that'll be the date for him to end up signing it. And then the April draft, and we're looking for a home to broadcast the draft, at least on Thursday and Friday. I don't think we're going to do Saturday this year, but I'm looking to, and we're not traveling this year. It's not Vegas. Where is it at? Like Kansas City or Detroit or something? Where the hell is it? I forgot now. We always have this conversation, Sean, and I always screw it up and forget about what but I think it is Kansas City or Green Bay, right? I want to say. And I want to go with Sean all over the place and travel. I have no problem with that. We have the budget, but I'm not going to those kind of places. If you're going to send me to the draft, you got to send me somewhere sexy, bro. New York, Vegas, LA, some sexy. And that's what I need. I need a sexy place, So April 27th through the 29th will be the NFL draft. That is your NFL schedule, where to look, and how when the decisions are going to be made on Tua and Raekwon and others, and Christian Wilkins, all kinds of stuff. So there's a Sealer, very important decisions. These are the important dates that all Dolphins fans should follow. All right. Let's wrap up hour number 2. Let's get ready for hour number 3 on the Big O Radio Show, mastered by the one and only Sean Stanley.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Back, baby. Hour number 3. Enjoying a little crypto run. Algorand up 666. The number of the beast. Up to 27 cents. Up 6.66% today. I like it. Alethea. Remember, it went parabolic yesterday. It soared all the way to 9 cents. Now it's dropped to 7 cents. That's called a dip. There you go. But, man, we got this under a penny. So those of us that are rocking with Alethea, I hope you took out your initial investment already, okay? Because you should easily take out your initial investment. Immutable X, I am so pumped. It is at 97 cents. It's up 6%. The last time I invested in Immutable X, it was at 44 cents. So we have more than doubled our investment already, and it's at 97, and it's just going to fly. I love Immutable X, and when the whole Disney metaverse thing starts, and they've got all kinds of stuff, all kinds of big-time games on there. Immutable X is going to be a beast when it comes to gaming and metaverse stuff. So looking forward to that. So some stuff. I love Mina Protocol. I've talked about that. It's up to 82 cents, up 4.5% today. Bitcoin hanging again, right around $23,000, right around there. And it's actually a really good thing that it is held. You know, Hedera hash graph, something that I love, is up 5%, and it's at 77 cents, which is pretty cool. When we did our show on Saturday, right? Let me see where it is. Saturday, yeah. It was just around there, right around there, just a little. It was at 7. Now it's at 7.4 cents. So, you know, not too much has gone up since Saturday. But it's holding steady, and that's another one. That's another blockchain that I think will end up absolutely exploding. Joseph 5, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says, talking about old restaurants, remember Cammy's, the seafood place on 127th and 8th Street. I do remember that one on 127th and 8th Street. The funny part is, by the time that one opened, I stopped really going to a lot of Cammy's. The one I used to go to all the time, and I don't know if it was the original, but the one on US 1 right by South Miami Hospital, which is 62nd, I believe, right? It's where 62nd and there's a McDonald's. Fat people know food. That's our that we use that as our landmarks, okay? Remember that. That's a key for fat people. You know, hey, you pull up to the Smokies Barbecue, you hang a left, you go 3 blocks down, there's an IHOP, you hang a right, 2 houses down, you'll see that guy's house. Why? Because it's next to a food truck. Anyway, so what was your favorite Tony Roma's location? Oh, a place for ribs. By the way, Tom's NFL Club, the new Tom's. You know, the original Tom's NFL Club is still there. It's an institution. It's been there forever on 36th Street by the airport. Tom's NFL opened up a new restaurant bar, and it's the old Tony Roma's on Kendall Drive, right by, it's actually close to Sports Grill, and it's right where De Papa's Pizza. I'm fat, bro. Relax. Take it easy. And so De Papa's is there. There's the Highway 874. You go under it when you're heading southbound on it. And then you'll pass that farm stores, the Fluent, and then right next to it is Tony Roma's. Okay? Is it Fluent? I don't know. It's one of those dispensaries. But there you go. So the old Tony Roma's is the new Tom's NFL. And if you're going to ask me what Tony Roma's I used to go to, I think I'm going to have to say Hialeah, 49th Street. That was probably the place I would go to. Yeah. Tony Roma's on 49th Street. That's probably the one right there. Big O March 8, Greta Van Fleet. Where? Or is that the one here or that's the one? Yeah. You mean the Hollywood one? Yes. I'll be going to that one for sure. Frankie Fresco, you bastard. Thank you. He put in some Bitcoin, a donation of Bitcoin. I love it. It's my favorite donations. Frankie knows it. Frankie knows how to get to my heart. Little Bitcoin donation. That is strong. Thank you, Frankie. Appreciate you, my brother. That is very cool. Thank you. No better way to make a donation to the program than a little Bitcoin. I love you all for that. That is fantastic. Those are my favorites right there. Those get me excited. Thank you, my brother. I know the talent isn't free. Just a question. Since people just disappear, it's one of my 7 businesses. We're in South Florida. You know, I step up just like many donations for the show and Bill's family. Well, then let's go. Let's talk business. Another great sports bar was Hooligans. I used to go to the one on Kendall Drive all the time, right by the Town and Country Center, whatever the hell it's called now. I have no idea. Anyway, but that's the one I used to go to all the time. There was the Specs in that little shopping center, right? What's it called? Mario, my man Mario runs a cigar shop there. Still there, by the way. And then there's I think it was the Red Lobster was the place. I'm pretty sure it was the Hooligans. Or maybe was that a Bennigan's? Yeah, because there was also a Hula Hands, right? And that was by Dadeland. Boy, I tell you. Us fat people, we know food and sports bars, bro. I got to tell you. We just know how to find them all over the place. That's amazing. Anyway, so there you go. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? So the Vikings have hired Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator. And first of all, I've got to admit, I didn't think this would happen. I thought he would be kind of the token interview and that kind of, and it kind of looked like that's what it was. And then it looked like he wasn't getting the Arizona job, which I kind of understand. You wouldn't hire him for the Arizona job. The guy can't build an offensive staff. It would be stupid. And you've got to fix that quarterback. I still think they'll go Kafka. I haven't heard anything yet. I don't know if there's any headlines or any new news on that, but I haven't heard if they've hired anybody. So he took the Minnesota job. So now it's down to 2 people over in Arizona. But I got to say something, okay? Besides being wrong that I didn't think he would get this because I thought the NFL would, string him along and all that. But the NFL has, I got to say, they've been pretty stout on this. Okay, they can defend their position, whatever. And I know that there's plenty of bias in the world and in the NFL and all that stuff. And I know minorities at times, whether they're blacks or women or, whatever, man, they get dissed. I understand all of that. I know it exists. Okay, I know people have bias against the LGBT community or Asians or Jewish community, which, any of these things that exist that I don't understand, by the way. I just don't understand any of that stuff. But whatever. It exists. I know that. But in Brian Flores' case, it's never really been about race. And he's kind of been the angry dude the entire time and all that. And I kind of thought that the NFL would like string him along and all that to try to play the PR game. But the fact that the Steelers stepped up and gave him a job, and then that has led to this, I have to commend the NFL because they don't have to do this and they don't need to do it. They can dismiss your ass and nothing will happen. Nothing, dude. Whether it's Ray Rice, whether it's hiding concussions, whether it's Deflategate, whether it's Bullygate, whether it's the Tuck rule, you name it. There's so many things that have happened over the years that could, easily the concussions and all that stuff after hiding it for all these years practically from your players. And then really you have to give in to these lawsuits because you had no choice on the PR side of it. They have survived everything and anything like Teflon. So to them, to dismiss Brian Flores and just give him no chances, he would just die out and fade out and nobody would give a shit and nobody would react because football is way bigger than any one individual. And for the NFL they're being sued. I've never heard of this. Is another thing I was wrong. No way they hire the guy. You're suing somebody. How does somebody that you're suing hire you? I would have never guessed this. But again, on the flip side, we all know Brian Flores can coach defense. Whether you and we want to disagree or agree about head coaching or building a staff or, overall the person in the building, we can have those kind of discussions and agree to disagree. But I think all of us would agree the guy knows defense. Okay. He gets to do what he's known for, being a defensive coordinator. Okay. So now he gets his opportunity and good for him. But at the same time, I got to say, I don't do this a lot to this league because they mishandle a lot of this stuff, but it doesn't affect them whatsoever because they're so damn powerful. They're so strong. But I got to give them credit, man. I've never seen this, that you actually sue somebody and they turn around and hire you. That to me is impressive. And it strengthens their case against him. Those are the realities, because he's not going to be able to prove that there was any racial things involved in any of his decisions. I mean, in the Houston one, he was ripping the Lovey to move. And it's like, yo, bro, it's another minority. What are you doing trashing another minority? I mean, it's just like, it's the weirdest thing. He's an odd bird, bro. He's just an odd bird and whatever. We'll see how it turns out. But I got to commend the NFL here because they did something I never, ever, 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 ever thought would happen. I mean, I could not have been more wrong about this. The NFL, you go against them, brother, they'll just crush your ass. It's the most powerful sports league in the entire world. There's no sports league that has the power of the NFL. Zero. They make more money. They got more juice than anybody, man. It's really impressive. And yet, give them credit. Give them credit. Let's see. What else do we have here? Man, I wanted to see Kyler versus Flo fights. That would have been just classic. Specs was my place for music. Yeah. Specs and Peaches, Mike. I love Peaches. I was a big fan of Peaches. Although, I shouldn't say that. Yesterday and Today was a terrific record store that was on Bird Road and 57th Avenue. Then they ended up moving. It's close to that Subs place. See, fat people. Anyway, so then they moved over to the mall that's there on 57th because it was like on 56, right? And then the mall is on when you cross 57, and then they moved it there, and then it was gone. That was one of my places that I used to go to. Yesterday and Today. Love that, dude. That was probably one of my favorite record stores of all freaking time. Just like, what was the one on the beach? You guys remember that one? The one that was on literally on Collins, and I want to say maybe 12th Street, close to 1235, or maybe on 11th Street or something like that. I'm not exactly sure, but it was right around there. Blue and purple neon lights, I remember, and that was another absolutely great record store / CDs, all that. And then the other one I used to go to all the time was it CDs Unlimited, I think it was called, right next to Swenson's, fat people, and Specs, right, well, yeah, it was right there. It was like literally next to it. Was Specs also there at that time? Maybe Specs came after that. I think Specs came after that. And it was like a CD place. Used to love to go there all the time. Get used CDs. I was a big fan of used CDs because, man, you're getting them for a fraction of the price, and you could always find gems in those kind of places. Uncle Sam's, you some bitch. Yes, sir. Uncle Sam's. That's it. That was it. Good memory by you, dude. Nice job. I love it. Oh, would you say Flores backstabbed Ross and Greer? Oh, hell yeah, dude. And Belichick. And Lovie Smith. Let me tell you something. In the circus, they have those knife throwers. Brian Flores could have replaced those guys. Okay? Blindfolded and all. He's throwing knives all over the place. By the way, isn't Brian Flores going to be on the next edition of Knives Out? Anyway, let's see. Frankie says they wanted to show that the NFL does not discriminate, but giving him spots as a defensive coordinator shows or gives the perspective they don't. Yeah, it strengthens their case, dude. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this is getting another chance, might change him some. Pray he does for his sake and his family. Well, he's already made his money with also the Dolphins. He should be fine for the rest of his life. But here's the thing, Richard. He has a terrific example in front of him named Josh McDaniel. He was a screw up the first time around, and this second time around so far has been an absolute disaster. Okay. And now he was begging for Tom Brady to go over there and save his ass. Now they've got to hope to get Aaron Rodgers if he doesn't go over to the Jets. I mean, it's a joke. It's really a joke. Everybody, oh, Tom, please save me because I can't do the job. Yeah, Swenson's was good. Love Swenson's. The Jericho Cruise is going on. I've seen some footage. Nothing like wrestling and rock. Yeah, that would be the kind of cruise that I would like to go on. One for Sean, obviously, because he loves the wrestling stuff, and then I like the rock. So it's like perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because when I'm on the road with him, he's not going to any of the concerts with me. That's not his thing. Hey, I'm going to go to a show. All right, man, I'll be here. And he's home and he's working and editing and hanging out and, doing his thing. So, yeah, that'll be the case there. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? Joe Montana has got an opinion on something. And it's a very interesting opinion. Why? Because a lot of people are wondering in San Francisco, what direction are they going to go in, right? After the Brock Purdy season, do they stay with Brock Purdy? Do they make a trade? Is it Trey Lance? All that kind of stuff. Well, if Montana had his way, he expressed his opinion already. He was on a podcast, and when asked what direction on the Open Mic podcast should they go, the legend said, I'd start Jimmy. Remember, they already said, like, they're moving on from Jimmy. He goes, I'd start Jimmy. How many games has Jimmy won? For the longest time, questions were out with Jimmy for a while. But the one thing he's been able to do is win games for those guys. He'll make a mistake here and there, but some of those things I just don't put on Jimmy. Yeah, he made a crazy throw and mistake in the playoff game a couple years ago, but he has won a lot of games. I can't say the same for Trey. You don't know that from him, so I think you start the guy who has won all the games for you. You've got to figure out the backup situation with Trey. Does Trey know the offense well enough? Is he meant for the offense? Dude, he didn't even talk, and he talked up Purdy during the season. Right? But he must see something in him that he went to Garoppolo. And then he's wondering if Trey could back up. And then this goes against the grain of the direction they're going in, because they're going more in the Purdy Trey because they feel they've got to move away from Garoppolo. But Montana is right. He is the most accomplished quarterback out of the three. Yes, he's super injury prone. He gets injured practically every year of his career. I get all of that. But it's kind of interesting that a guy that has incredible juice in the San Francisco 49ers culture, and obviously he was the GOAT until Brady came by. This was the number one quarterback, in the history of the game. We were all giving it to Montana. You could argue others were more talented, this, that, or whatever, or Marino would have won as many, Super Bowls if he had the talent that Montana had. I get all of that. But the bottom line is Montana was considered the guy, the GOAT. And then Brady took over. So when a guy like this says that, I wonder what the San Francisco base is thinking at this moment. Because they've got to go, wow, well, wait a minute. He knows quarterbacks, or you think at least, right? Because that doesn't really mean that you know quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? John Elway couldn't find a quarterback if his life depended on it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, oh, let me sign Peyton Manning. But he couldn't ever develop a quarterback, ever. Couldn't figure it out. And you're talking about one of the greatest players to ever play the game, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, John Elway, and he didn't know quarterbacks. So, take it with a grain of salt. Michael Jordan, greatest player to ever play the game, one of the worst general managers in the history of all of sports. Not just the NBA, every single sport you can come up with, Michael Jordan is one of the 5 worst general managers ever. So, just because you're a great player doesn't mean you're going to be great at this, okay? But Montana is already making his opinion and presence felt by saying, yeah, you guys are not doing the right thing. You're going with the wrong guy. We'll see how it works out. When sports and business collide, we love doing something called the KSdt CPA, Sports Business Report. So gamblers are set to wager $16 billion on Super Bowl 57. That's pretty amazing here in this country. 110% increase from last year. All right. 50 million adults will bet, which is a 61% increase from last year also. A lot of discretionary income there. Aren't we headed for a recession? Sports gambling, by the way, is now allowed in 36 states. Not ours. Like DeSantis. Let's go, bro. You had it going on for us. Come on, figure it out. Jesus. You do all kinds of other wacky shit. Let's get the damn gambling going. Anyway, so Washington, D.C., Kansas, Ohio, Massachusetts, and Maryland now. Okay? And by the way, I was told that they added gambling in Washington, D.C. simply for George Santos. Okay? Because he's known as a big-time gambler. But impressive. I got to say that $16 billion, man, that's a lot of money. I told you, most powerful league in the world. So how many of you that are watching right now and on the chat board, how many of you will be wagering on Sunday? Tell me a yay or a nay. That is your KSDT CPA Sports Business Report.
This has been the KSDT Sports Business Report. KSDT CPA is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax and accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit online at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
All right, it's a fantastic day. The Heat are under the salary cap. Wow, that's just fantastic, man. I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped that the Heat have not gone to the extreme of adding 2 players on their roster that they should, and a third if you add Orlando Robinson. I'm really excited that they just got rid of another player, and, you know, they're really making steps forward and really committed. I got to say, so impressive. Lynch has been a pretty good GM so far. I agree. I think he's done a very good job overall. You know that? You gotta give him love. Pat says, my wife built her vast CD collection by joining every single 10 for CD dollar club. For sure. Nothing wrong with a little BMG and Columbia House action. You gotta send that to Terre Haute, Indiana. Terre Haute. Is it Terre Haute? Terre Haute? Whatever, Indiana. Definitely. Terre Haute, Indiana. Isn't that where you used to send your letters to if you wanted to contact the kids from Zoom? Zooma, Zooma, Zoom. Where are you? All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to go in another direction that 99% of you have no idea what Zoom is. But anyway, so just these are just things that rattle in the brain. They come in and out. And, you know, what are you going to do? Flo Costa fins Joe Burrow by not following the 2019 tank plan, then cost them Sean Payne and Brady by filing the lawsuit. Yeah. Well, that part you got to understand, because that means it was going to cost him his job. Nelson says, Orlando, while you're selling that bridge, take note that Tua has never played an entire season from beginning to end on any level, high school, college, or pro. I know that, my brother. Nelson, who are you replacing him with right now? Let's see. Who are you replacing him with? Please tell me right now. That's the part I love about all of this. Who are you replacing him with right now? What is legitimate that you can go and add right now that you're going to be able to replace him with? That's what I want to know. Morgan Freeman, you know what? I don't remember. I just remember kids on Zoom. I don't remember any adults. I might be wrong, okay? But I only remember kids. That's it. As a kid, I signed up with Columbia using my dog's name. Pluto hooked me up. R.I.P. Great dog. What else do we have? Anyway, see, I'm not hearing anything. Well, what happened there, bro? What's up, Nelson? What's the answer? Who are you replacing him with? What's better than you can get than Tua right now, the number 1 rated passer in the league? Tell me. I don't know. Who are you replacing him with? I love how you guys like lay it out there like, yeah, no, there's several people better than him out there. Let's go get this guy, that guy. Who? Who are you going to get? Draft a QB in the second round. Yeah, because that'll be better than Tua. Of course, that'll be better than Tua. Oh, man. On the music side, by the way, let me give you a little music history today. Always love talking a little music history. And if those of you that like a little, what a new wave goth, Sisters of Mercy are launching their first tour in 14 years. I'd love for them to come to South Florida and see a little Dominion so they can jam it. But if you're in Vegas, they'll be there May 13th and the 14th, you lucky bastards. LA at the Hollywood Palladium, May 15th. San Francisco at the Masonic, May 17th. Los Angeles at the Hollywood Palladium, May 23rd. It is already sold out. Austin City Limits, dying to go to that place, at the Moody Theater, May 27th. Yo, Brooklyn, they'll be at the King's Theater June 2nd. Boston, Big Night Live, May 31st. 8 Mile, Detroit basketball, the Fillmore. Chicago at the Salt Shed on June 6th. They'll wrap it up in Denver on June 19th at the Fillmore in Fillmore Auditorium. And I lose because they're not coming here, which absolutely sucks. Today in music history, some pretty interesting stuff. The Who recorded Pinball Wizard. Yeah, baby. At London's Morgan Studios, they'll go on to play the tune at nearly every concert since they premiered the track live in May of 1969. Yeah, you got to play a Pinball Wizard. Yeah. He's got such a supple wrist. In 76, Paul Simon's 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover was number 1 in the American singles charts. It's really not my habit to intrude. All right, in 79, Stephen Stills became the first rock performer in 79 to record on digital equipment when he laid down some tracks at LA's record plant studio, or record plant studio, I'm sorry. Now, here's my problem with that. Do they mean in America? Because I'm wondering Kraftwerk was doing synthesizer stuff from the early 70s. Because they were the developers of electronic music. They are the godfathers of electronic music, period. It starts and ends with Kraftwerk. After that, everybody else copied Kraftwerk. On the electronic side, rap also kind of used a lot of what Kraftwerk was doing. So it's interesting. I'd really love to, because I bet if you cornered some of these people from Kraftwerk, and if they speak English, because they're all German, yeah, well, they can sing English, so yeah, maybe they do. In 94, this is hilarious, okay? Talk about like having a false sense of reality. Blind Melon singer Shannon Hoon assaulted a security guard at the American Music Awards ceremony after his band lost the award for Best New Artist to Stone Temple Pilots. Shannon was later charged with battery assault, resisting arrest, and destroying a police station phone. Like, really, dude? You got one song? You think you're better than Stone Temple Pilots? I mean, to this day, the sad part that Scott Weiland had this drug addiction, but he was so freaking good, man. Stone Temple Pilots are amazing, but for Blind Melon to think that, one song puts you anywhere near Stone Temple Pilots, and that first album of theirs, of Stone Temple Pilots, is a freaking classic. Nothing about Blind Melon was a classic. It's one song, one video, one Bumblebee. That's it. God. In 2004, Queen's single We Will Rock You topped a poll of music fans to find the greatest rock anthem of all time. The band took second place to Bohemian Rhapsody. That's how good Queen is. Oh, man. So that's what happened today in music history. Let's see. Did I get an answer, by the way, from him? Where you at, bro? Where you at? Did I get an answer? Where's Nelson at? What happened? MIA? What happened, Nelson? So you complain, but you've got, like, no solutions? Then the complaint don't mean shit, bro. If you don't have an answer for it, don't complain. Devin says, Big O, thank you for the love on the super chat. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Big O, give me your top 3 choices to back up Tua. Jimmy G will never come here. Somebody will offer him a starting job, so that's out. Minshew or Mariota? I hate Mariota. And not hate the person. Like, his game sucks. Like, I want nothing to do with Marcus Mariota. I've never wanted anything to do with Marcus Mariota. If anybody's followed our career here on this show, I laughed at Marcus Mariota going into the draft. I said he wasn't accurate. I said this guy was too inconsistent, and he's been that ever since, and he's super injury prone too on top of all of that, but he can't really play the game. So I want nothing to do. I'd rather have Skylar Thompson and a draft pick than anything to do with Marcus Mariota. He's a loser. Nothing to do with him. Minshew, I'm with you. Minshew, give me Andy Dalton. Give me Taylor Heineke. Something like that. Little experience, serviceable. That's what those guys are. Mariota's a waste. A waste. He's been stealing money in this league for years, dude. Years. His ass ran away from the Falcons after they benched him. Oh, I'm not getting a chance anymore. Yeah, no. So the other guys I talked about, those are legit backups. Your team sucks if they're starters. You're not going anywhere with those guys as starters. But as a backup, I think those guys can, kind of man the ship and get you by. Right? Alfonso, where are you? Ragin says, no, they mean using digital recordings and mixing techniques, not electronic. No, I know that. But guess who did all of that? So you're going to tell me that they were using electronic equipment and there wasn't digital recordings before that? I have a hard time believing that. That's what their lives were all about. That's who they were. So I would not be surprised if they did some kind of digital recording before everybody else. They were so ahead on that stuff. That's what I'm saying. I don't have any proof, but I just have a hard time believing that Kraftwerk was at it from 1970, and they were already having hits by the mid-70s, okay? Because when I was a kid, Trans, Europe, Express, that thing was everywhere, bro. Everywhere. That was like an enormous song. Computer, The Model, which is my favorite song of theirs. That was everywhere. That was dominant. And they were ahead on synthesizers and all of that. I have a hard time believing that they didn't use some digital recording equipment at one point or another before Stephen Stills in 1979. That's all I'm saying. I just have a hard time believing that. And that's where That's where I kind of, go like that on the story. The Beatles arrived in America 59 years ago today and played Ed Sullivan 2 days later. We got a really big shoe for you tonight. Devo. I love Devo. I've been working in the coal mine, going downtown, working in the coal mine. Woo! Let's see. Shannon Hoon couldn't hold Whelan's heroin kit, much less his microphone. It's true. Scott Whelan man, let me tell you. And Bill, rest in peace. I love you, my brother. So I'm working at QAM, right? No, I'm working at 940 Wins. Yes, this is before I went to QM, before I went to San Francisco to do Sports Byline Deportes Byline USA in San Francisco. This was early 90s to mid 90s, right? And so do me a favor, Sean, look up Stone Temple Pilots. What's the year their first album came out? Anyway, so that tour, they come to the whatever, Cruzan, Sony, I think, you know what I'm talking about, in West Palm, those of you that live in this area. And I didn't have tickets at that time, and they were smoking hot at that moment, right? That album was just exploding. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I want to say half the people that win prizes on radio never pick up the prize. Unless it's some kind of $10,000 or a car or something. But tickets to a show, a game, whatever, half the time they're left there. They're never picked up. Okay? So when 5 o'clock, what year, sir?
Looked like 92.
Okay, I told you, early 90s. So, and I was at Wins. I wasn't at QAM till 97, actually. So this was 92, and I'm working at Wins. And Wins, we have, 940 Wins, Love 94, Zeta 4 was then, right? If I remember correctly. What else did we have out? We had IOD. It was a cluster of stations. And it was Paxson Broadcasting then, before it was sold to the Beasleys. Okay, this was a while back. Obviously, this is my early days in radio. And those were the days where at times I would do morning sports hits with Castronovo and damn it, now what is it, Young something? Now I'm forgetting his name now. Anyway, so
was it Paul and Young Ron?
Young Ron, that's it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. And so I remember I used to do sports hits in the mornings with them on FM and go back upstairs and do the AM sports hits. And so at 5 o'clock, the secretary would close the doors, and then she'd get on the speakerphone and she'd say, we have tickets for this event, that event, this concert, whatever. If anybody wants them, come on down. First come, first serve, right? So you could imagine there's studios all over, salespeople, production people, traffic. You know what I'm saying? Every employee is available. There's no pecking order here or anything like that, dude. And I'm up in the second floor. I'm in a corner studio, where there's a middle studio, and then 940 is here. I'm in Radio Acción, 8:30 a.m. And so, actually I should have done it up here. Like this. And so it's in the second floor, and I hear, we have Stone Temple Pilot tickets. Anybody want them? And brother, I busted out of that studio, ran down the stairs, go across, grabbed the tickets, and then I called Bill. Okay, for those of you that might be new to the show, Bill Preston is my best friend, will always be my best friend, no matter what, whether he's here or not, and was the original producer for the start of this show, this podcast. Obviously, Sean has taken over, but Bill's my best friend of 40 years, and we went everywhere. It didn't matter, you name it, traveling, concerts, sporting events, all kinds. So I called him right away. I said, dude, I got STP tickets, and he flipped out, because at that time they were just skyrocketing. And they did not have a whole set. So when we went that night, they actually did some Led Zeppelin too. And they used to do exceptional versions of Zeppelin songs. Like we were freaking out. Like, they did their album and then they had to do some extra material, and the extra material was Led Zeppelin. For those of you that went to that concert, you know what I'm talking about. That was one of, the best shows I saw in the 90s. That was one that was so memorable for me. It's still, to this day, it still stays in my mind because how fresh Stone Temple Pilots were. So to hear Blind Melon, it's like, yo, dude, you got one freaking song. You think you're better than Stone Temple Pilots? Come on, be honest. Look at your music and look at their music. Are you kidding me? Oh, man. So there you go. That's my Stone Temple Pilots story. Numbers was a big tropical skating rink. So, oh, yeah, baby. Definitely. At Tropical West, I can only speak of Tropical West on Bird Road in 87th, next to Cazzoli's, fat people. Okay? That's where we would go anyways. You get out, you grab your Rydell Classics, right? Make sure your goody comb is inside your corduroy jeans, right? And then you head down to Cazzoli's and have a couple slices of pizza. And then somebody picks you up, mom or somebody else, and then you're headed home. Boy, skating back in those days, that was like the pickup place for us youngsters. You'd go for 1 or 2 shifts. And when they had boys only in Tropical West, I went to Tropical North, I went to Midway, and I went to Westland. I went to all the different skating centers. Okay, I visited the other ones, but Tropical West on Bird Road in 87th was my home. That was my main one. So when they had boys only, it was most always Foghat Stone Blue or Boston Smoking. And there you go. And it was on. Big O, have you heard Train? Yes, I have the album. I bought the CD of Train doing all Zepp. Very good. Now, remember, Pat Moynihan is probably one of the best voices in music right now. Right now. Okay? And listen, whether you like Train's music or not, I don't care. All right? The bottom line is you listen to the range of that guy's voice, and and that's the thing about Train's music. And doing the Zepp, he shows you his range. It's not the same all the time. And I think Moynihan is a monster, dude. Okay? He is a super, super, super talent. So, yes, I have seen Train do it, and it is fantastic, and I own the CD. I like Train, actually. I've seen them a few times in concert. They're a great show, man. Great show. Love that guy. Big O Nation, remember listening to you when you were on 940, but not 980. 940, yes. Yes, sir. Zebra did a bunch of Zeppelins to a team. Man, I remember Zebra back in the 80s. I have not, they're still touring now, but I don't know if it's the same guys, but that I enjoyed Zebra. That's an under the radar band. Very few people. You got to be hardcore to know Zebra, dude. Now, Train rocks, says Giovanni. Seen them a few times, and he has a voice range. Oh man, Moynihan is a stud, dude. Absolute total stud. So Dan Snyder, I gotta tell you, when sports and business collide, even Dan Snyder actually has a story in our KSDT CPA Sports Business Report. All right. There we go. And let's get that banner out of the way because we got a show right here. What's going on? You see this? You see this beautiful home on the Potomac River? That is the home of one Daniel, the punk ass Snyder. And he has now put up his home for $49 million in Maryland. Now, I want you to know he bought this home in 2000 at $8.6 million. Some people think that he has put up this home because he is closer to selling the Washington Redskins. And I got to tell you something. Washington or Dallas or the Cowboys or the Eagles, none of them mean shit to me. But sports means something to me. The NFL, obviously, as you all know, I have an immense love for the sport itself. Not necessarily the people that run it at times. But anyway, the sport itself. But I feel for Redskins fans because as a Dolphins fan, I can relate going through tough times. I can relate dealing with all kinds of embarrassments. And the Redskins, just like the Dolphins, were royalty in the NFL. Everything Joe Gibbs and Don Shula built for each of their franchises has been destroyed, obliterated, annihilated, you name it. There's such a gap now between the Redskins Gibbs and the Dolphins Shula to the shit that you see nowadays. And look, I'm hoping now the Dolphins are in the brink of turning it around because I love the front office and I think this coach can grow. So I've got the hope I haven't had with the Dolphins in over 20 years. Yeah, because Jimmy gave me some hope early and then it died out really quickly with his ass. But this guy apparently is close to selling. And listen, once he sells the team, nobody wants to see him. Nobody wants to deal with him because he no longer has leverage on you as a community. He doesn't own your football team or anything like that. So now you can finally get rid of his ass, something that a lot of people have been wanting to do for many, many years now. He's a cancer. He's a terrible human being. So I'm glad that he's selling his home, but man, he is going to make $49 million to 8.6. And this is a guy that you're going to have to buy your friends because you ain't going to have real friends. 30,000 square feet, 15.2 acres. Views of the Potomac. Do you want to know what freaked me out about this? Okay, it's a 30,000-foot home, and it has only 5 bedrooms. How big are those bedrooms? Well, here you go. There's a dining room. There's a little living room outside overlooking the Potomac. There you go. There's, Dan's hanging out, bedroom. Like I told you, these bedrooms have got to be absolutely enormous, dude. There you go. Kind of a library to hang out. Bathroom. Bathroom that's probably bigger than most of our homes. A bar, pool table, TVs everywhere. How about that? The theater, man. Huh? Yeah, he can watch highlights of the 2021 season. There you go. That's just a little humble little place. We'll all take the servants' quarters, right? On the side. Just give me this one right here. I don't need this one. I don't need the one on the left. Just give me the one on the right. That's it. That's all I need. I'm good. The garage is impressive. There you go. An open deck out into the Potomac. It's a half decent place, right? Look at that garage. Oh man, that is just a sickness of richness. Okay. That's it. We don't need to see anymore. But there you go. Daniel Snyder selling one hell of a home. I got to tell you, that is some crazy stuff. What do we have going on? Let me see what's going on in the market. Ooh, Bitcoin now made a move over 23,000 now to 23,275. I like it. I like Immutable X hit $1. Yeah! Up 10%. Woo! I love it, dude. Immutable X is a monster. Can't wait for Immutable. That thing is going to run and run and run, baby. It hit $1. Wow. That is one hell of a run. A little over a month ago, you probably could have gotten it for 44 cents. It's now $1. You could easily sell your profits now and ride. But hey, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that likes crypto. That's all. That's all I can tell you. Nothing more, nothing less. So do your own homework. Figure things out yourself. I'll do another show on Saturday, by the way. Okay? We will do another show on Saturday at 1 o'clock, and I can actually, I'll be there. I'll be fine. Okay? I'll be just fine. We'll be able to get through it. Let's see. You need to play the theme song of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Yes. Yeah, but we'll probably get nailed by YouTube, so we can't do it. Snyder and his cronies weren't watching cheerleader. We're watching cheerleader footage. Yeah, they were probably watching the cheerleader footage on those big ass TVs. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Yeah, and the kind of shit that I'll never experience. You know, it is what it is. You know, that's all right. We're all good. One more thing. Again, our thoughts and prayers continue to all the people in Turkey and Syria and other places that obviously affected by this earthquake. It gets even worse, man, every day when you find out about it, and the stories and kids trapped in rubble, and oh God, it is really, really scary stuff, man. Very difficult situation to look at. All right, we are out of here. We want to thank Cameron Wolfe and Manny Navarro. Of course, we want to thank Sean Stanley, who masters this platform and puts it together every day. Thanks to all of you out there, those of you that sent in a super chat. I appreciate you. I hope I answered all the super chats. I think I did. Did I, Sean? I did answer all the super chats, right? Okay, I did. There you go. And of course, don't forget that Nature B is a proud sponsor of our program. And folks, take advantage. Go to Nature B. Check out all the deals going on right now. And use our code Big O. You will save on shipping. natureb.com. We're out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Although tomorrow we do start at 8:45 because we've got Red Recover inside the paint. See you tomorrow.
This is the Big O Show.